This is a very passionate podcast. I'm Mario.
Super very passionate people. I'm very passionate.
Very, very passionate about it.
Very passionate people.
She's one of the most passionate people.
Or maybe you don't know shit and you want to learn from the best.
Very passionate.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. Welcome back to I Am Very Passionate, a podcast by Mario and Jessica.
I'm Mario.
And I'm Jessica.
And we are having dissociative identity crises today, which is very fitting for our topics.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. If you don't know, we are today discussing two race-based documentaries that are both on Netflix. So if you haven't had a chance to watch them, you may want to watch them first before listening. But we are doing Chelsea Does Racism as well as The Racial Divide, which is the Rachel Dolezal documentary that's on Netflix currently. But first, we did want to do a few icebreakers, and then we can get into that. How does that sound?
I love it. It sounds like our normal segue, so let's do it.
All right, so typical like Mario, we have some tech news because
I'm so excited about. I didn't know.
Well, two huge tech things happened this week. The thing I mentioned earlier and something else. So we'll get the first thing out of the way so you can gush. And then we can go on to the big thing.
Yes. Yes, sir.
So Apple announced AirPods Pro, which I'm a little bit pissed about because I bought AirPods in March because I heard they weren't going to launch the new ones until next year anyway.
You could feel the anger right now. I cringed just a little bit. I didn't know this was coming. I would have braced myself.
Nah, it's fine. It's fine. Honestly, I'll probably get them eventually, but I really like my pair of AirPods currently, so I don't really feel the need to upgrade. But they added noise cancellation. They have a shorter stem and a different charging cape. And then they also have the silicone tips that a lot of people like. In order to be able to,
I prefer those, yeah.
And they're smaller, so they fit in people's ears better. So, I mean, they're really cool. They're neat. They're $250 though, so... I mean, that's actually normal. That's actually low end for noise canceling headphones. That's the low end.
Oh, they're noise canceling. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
So, and the battery life is just as good as AirPods too. So, it's pretty neat. But the big thing Jessica's excited about, and I
didn't know. Mario told me. I think this is going to be really cool.
So, if you don't know what Alphabet is the parent company of Google. So, each letter is a different product essentially, and they keep adding to it. So, Google's parent company just bought Fitbit. So, Jessica's a huge fan of Fitbit.
It's like emotional for me how much I like Fitbits. It's the first time I was right about something technological and with my husband because he was insisting that Jawbones were the thing.
Mm-hmm. I've never even heard of Jawbone.
And they came out so in my mind they came out right as Fitbit came out because they were trying to compete with that kind of market. You know, like the health monitor on the wrist. And Jawbone were slightly less expensive, less bulky. It looked kind of like a bracelet. One of the earlier Fitbits looked like that. Ignore my dog. She's being needy today, and I don't know why. She hasn't even spoken to me all day.
She wants me.
Oh, God, it makes me sick to my stomach. No, she's my dog.
But she's my friend.
I'm not typically jealous or possessive, but with a dog, I definitely am. Hold on one second. Coco, no! So Daniel became obsessed with Fitbits and bought himself one and bought me one as a surprise gift. And then my second one that I wear now, I got for Christmas last year with $150 Sephora gift card. And so it's just this emotional thing. But I genuinely love Fitbits. I love the app. I love the Fitbit itself. I have the Charge HR 3. I have the 3 and he has the 2. And it's the one that has the heart monitor, which is why he got involved in the first place, with his heart. Uh-huh. He likes to kind of keep track of his heart rate and all that because he was having moments where it would go down and he would feel dizzy. So I don't know. To know that it's now going to be tied to my, it's possibilities to be tied to my phone or to my Google Pods, that is as excited as I get about technology.
Well, and the cool thing is, Fitbit is probably the second most popular wearable after the Apple Watch.
Which I've never had, so I can't...
Yeah. I've never had an Apple Watch either, only because our job doesn't allow us to wear them, so that's the only reason I don't have one. But I'd like one. If you want to buy me one, by all means, hit me up in the DMs. I'll give you my address. But I could just wear it on the weekends. It's fine.
No.
But no, the Fitbit is very, very popular, and it's much cheaper than an Apple Watch. So it's a lot of people default to it, especially if they have Android phones. But I mean, the Fitbit works with iPhone as well. So I wonder if they'll change that.
Oh, I think so.
I don't know if they will. because that's not a smart business move. Because you're cutting your...
But your Apple stuff doesn't work with my...
The Apple Watch will work with
my Google phone?
Well, the
It's
Apple
just
Watch doesn't need a phone to work. The Apple Watch works on its own.
Okay.
But like with the Fitbit, you have to have a phone to connect. So I think it would be foolish of them to cut their consumer base in half. You're pretty much saying, okay, I know you can't use our products anymore. Because even like the Apple AirPods work on Android phones, and the Galaxy Buds and
They do.
The Google whatever the hell's. What are they called? The Google wireless headphones. They work with Apple devices as well. Them. They just don't use the same. You won't have the same functionality, so you can't do like the tapping and stuff. But it's pretty exciting news. I heard that it was for like over $1 billion that they were sold. That was the rumor. I never actually got confirmation other than the lady who gave me my glasses at the glasses place. And she's like, "Did you hear it?" I was like, "Oh, I heard they were talking about it."
Mario looks super cute with his glasses.
These are the ones I got from my glasses place.
I like those though.
I got these from Zenny.com.
They're really cute.
They were $15.
They're amazing.
I really like them. I keep getting compliments. Like, random people, like, fucking Target says, like, I like your glasses.
Yeah.
Cute. I love them. Everybody's telling me I look like a professor.
These suit your face better than the ones you wore previously.
I like them better.
They look really good on you.
This is, like, the frame I've wanted for, like, 3 years, and my glass place never had them, and then I went this last time, and they had a similar-ish pair. I have a second pair of glasses that I just got on Friday, and they're nice, too, but I prefer these, because I feel like they're more dramatic, whereas the other ones are more subtle.
I haven't seen the other ones, so I can't comment.
I'll have to show you on Monday. If I remember to bring them.
Okay.
So, touching base with our weekly lesbian moment.
Oh, Mario and his puns make my heart sore.
Well, no, that's the official title of the Lizzo fans. Just like the Beyonce has the Beehive. We're lesbians.
Yeah, lesbian is way better.
Hey, don't come for us, Beehive. I'm part of the Beehive too.
I don't want to be a part of the Beehive. That sounds like conformist. It sounds like I'm
they have a hive mind.
Yeah, sure. No, I totally get it. I see this. I get it. But, like, I'd rather be a lesbian.
She's like one of the, instead of being like a normal bee, she's like one of those, like, carpenter bees where they live alone in their own little hole.
Sure. I'm happy to be a lesbian. Yes.
I'm totally happy to be a lesbian. But anyway, I mentioned she was being sued by somebody who, like, was the person who originally tweeted, I just took a DNA test. Turns out I'm 100% that bitch. And so she gave her writing credit. Like, she reached out to her. She's like, hey, I'm really sorry. I didn't know this. Like, because Lizzo saw it in a meme, and she's like, oh, I'm going to put that in a song.
Yeah, it wasn't.
She didn't realize it came from somebody's tweet. So she gave that person writing credit.
Oh, nice.
On Truth Hurts. And then did we talk about the guys who were suing her?
Yeah, over the... No, we talked about Yai.
Okay, no, that was CeCe Peniston. So these guys, who she originally used that line in like a jam session with them.
Yeah.
And they're trying to claim that, oh, that's theirs, like they stole the song or whatever, but it was a jam session, like they were just fooling around.
It's not yours.
So
it clearly has been stated who it belongs to.
Absolutely. And so, I don't know, I think it's going to go away. Like we said, she's made it, so people are trying to get their money.
I mean, that's what you should do. Like, she's like, hey man, didn't realize it, my bad. I'm going to give you writing credit. Hopefully she'll give her some money. Mm-hmm. Because that's what you do when you write on a song, you get some of it.
And honestly, that's like one of the biggest like lines from that song. Yeah. It's the most iconic Lizzo thing right now.
Right. And so I just think that like that's how I would have handled it if I was Lizzo.
Same.
So, yeah, and also good for her. Credit where credit is due.
Exactly, and she also talked about like uplifting other women and creative women,
and she's doing
and
that.
That's what and she's like so.
So she's not just capitalizing off the feminist movement; she's actually doing.
She's practicing what she's preaching,
and I love it. I'm so into it.
No, me too. Me too.
So into it.
Like when she called out these guys explaining, she's like, "No, actually, I gave credit to the person who did it because she reached out to me and proved that it was her line, so I gave her writing credit." And the girl tweets like, "Absolutely, I'm here for Lizzo. I'm a fan. Whatever."
Yeah,
like,
who's not a fan? Have you seen that? Like, there's videos now of like all her concerts and people just like bopping to her shit. There's this one old white guy standing alone, like he could not have been there with anybody, and like this stadium crowd. Truth Hurts came on and he clearly was just wasted, but he was like, tell this straight to my, like this old man with old Wranglers on, button up. Like I was just like, this is the kind of shit that she's like reaching everybody.
She's just so lovable.
Yeah,
she's just so lovable.
I fucking love Lizzo so much.
Now, speaking of people we love, Elizabeth Warren has announced or released her plan for universal health care. And I think it's good. I mean,
I saw a little bit of it.
Essentially, a lot of the money is going to come from the states using the money they'd use for Medicaid and Medicare to go into it, since everybody would be enrolled in it. And then I think the rest would come from, like, the rich tax, like the tax of the rich people, essentially.
Yeah, which it should. They are paying a lot of money.
They pay less tax than we do. In terms of percentage of their income.
Yes, but that's because of the way the tax laws are in the brackets.
Yeah,
because, like, even we...
Well, no, the big thing they do are the loopholes. The loopholes what helps them.
Yes, but that's not the tax... That has no relation to the tax bracket. That's the loopholes that they utilize to get away with stuff. But even if you take that out, you, like, have certain income levels, and at that A, B, C, or D, you pay a smaller and smaller percentage of the more earnings you make. So, like, and I found that out because of Daniel on, like, his tax bracket right now, which is pretty decent. But, like, it's crazy to me that, like, we can make more money but essentially paying less percentage of, like, what we earn in a year.
Yeah, I'm down for just a flat tax.
Because I ain't ever busted, into his tax bracket. That's never happened.
If we switched to a flat tax, so that would give our country so much more money.
Yeah, I would be super pissed off.
Why?
It would affect how much percentage we pay, and so we would pay a lot more.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. But maybe that means we would get more back.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look into all that. But it is crazy to me. One of my friend Kimmy, her boyfriend, partner, I don't know, common law manager,
Poppy.
I don't know, whatever, her poppy, her sugar daddy. He explained it to me one day because we were talking about taxes, and he's really good at that. That his degree is actually, like, in accounting and all that. So he's, like, really fucking smart. So he broke it down one day for me. And he breaks it down really well, because not everybody can break it down well. My husband can't explain shit to me. I feel worse.
She loves him to death.
I do. I love him to death. But, like, sometimes I'm like, I'm really fucking stupid. I'm like, no, he's just really fucking smart.
Yeah.
He can't explain it.
Bless.
So, for my icebreaker, the only thing I've wanted to talk about, and I haven't even texted you, because I don't know. So I've been watching the Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star conspiracy palette thing. It's really interesting to watch too, by the way. I really like it. But their palette dropped, and it dropped a week after Tati's dropped. Tati had the textured neutrals that we talked about. And then, like, in searching for all these things on YouTube, there's like 40 drama channels talking about how Jeffree and Tati are no longer friends.
What?
And they've unfollowed each other. And I've been so out of the loop with, like, my new job and, like, just not having time to really pay attention. And I'm not on social media like that.
He was just in her video, though.
It's, yeah. So, but, like, they no longer follow each other on socials. And someone asked why they weren't following, and Jeffree Star responded, "There's a billion fucking people on the planet. How about you stop trying to dredge up drama where there really is none?" And, like, ended it. But they are not following each other. And and I thought about it because neither one of them have spoken about each other's. Like, he didn't congratulate the textured neutrals. She didn't say anything about conspiracy. So,
and usually she reviews everything Jeffree Star.
Yeah. And so I have no idea why people are saying that it's because people in the beauty industry will talk before release dates to try and, like, make sure they don't step on each other's toes. And so maybe that had something to do with it, because he wouldn't budge, because it is a collab with Shane Dawson. But then she and Shane are still following each other. Yeah. And then she never dropped the video of her and Shane.
Was she supposed to?
Yeah, she, like, made a big tweet about, not a tweet, but, like, a thing. Let me double check that, because I thought I watched it.
I mean, I don't really care about Jeffree Star, but...
No, but, like, it's weird that they're not friends, is what I'm saying.
Especially after they just went through all that shit together.
Yeah. So, I'm looking it up right now. Yeah, here it is. They confirmed 6 months ago that there was going to be a video, but the video... And she even had, like, a thumbnail and, like, was Instagramming it and all this stuff. And then, like, it never dropped. But that was 6 months ago.
Wow.
So, I thought, like, it kind of broke my heart a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. It broke my heart a little bit because I keep having, like, idealistic views of, like, these people that I really admire, and I really, really admire Tati. And for the most part, I do like Jeffree Star. I do like his business personality. I like all of that about him. So it was like, God, no one's really friends anymore.
But also, I wonder if Jeffree did something. Because Tati's the kind of person, like, if you're doing something reprehensible or something I don't agree with, I'm not going to associate any
So
longer.
that was the other thing, too, is that people were saying the way that he went after James Charles really disgusted her. Mm-hmm. And so maybe that had something to do with it, too.
Maybe so.
And so maybe it was just like a...
But if that's the case, why would she have featured him in her product launch video a week ago?
I have no idea.
Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
But they're not following each other. I even looked. Uh-huh. They're not following each other.
Maybe it's a publicity stunt.
Yeah, I would hate to think that. I would just not watch them anymore if that's the truth. Mm-hmm. That makes me kind of gross. Anyway, that's so trivial and stupid and first world bullshit. But it was something that, like, you know, this week I was like, oh my god, like what the fuck happened? It's none of my business, but still.
Well, no, but also, like, I don't know. That's just I don't know. That just goes to show I'm very apprehensive of Jeffree Star because
we don't know who fucked up here.
I know, but he's a Scorpio.
Yeah.
I love Scorpios to death. Some of my very good friends are Scorpios, but if you piss off a Scorpio, they're going to kill you. Like, like they will go for your jugular.
We love you, Scorpios. Wait, is it Katia Scorpio?
Yes, I love you, Katia.
Oh, that makes so much sense. Yeah,
because like you never wrong Katia, and I never
no,
would.
and
like,
she is like fucking loyal as hell.
She's
too.
one of the most loyal people I've ever met in my life.
Like there is no one more ride or die than Katia, and I don't know her that well, but I can tell by the way that she just is with people.
Like, I'm lucky to have my friend, but, like, if I ever crossed Katia, like, if I ever betrayed her or did something to piss her off, she would not hesitate, bitch.
Oh, no. She's a door slammer. They're all door slammers.
But...
Okay, so keep going. That's my only...
I had an icebreaker regarding the Texture Neutrals palette as well.
What is it?
Because my other favorite, like, beauty guru, Wayne Goss, reviewed it.
Yeah, what did he say?
And he loves it.
I'm not surprised.
And he's also launching his own beauty line, actually.
Really?
Yeah, so it's another person to add.
Is it like a Goss?
I have no clue,
like
but I would
live.
Like I would live. But also I don't know, he probably had to pay royalties for that or something.
Yeah, and I think Carly Kloss has that.
But also I think his makeup is going to be like Charlotte Tilbury, Bobbi Brown, or
as it should be.
Like
if he's selling shit in Ulta, I'd be like, "What up, Wayne? What happened?"
He's going to be selling expensive. I mean, his brushes are stupid expensive.
Yeah,
but they're the best. They're top of the line. So I mean, I don't expect anything less from him. I think he's going to be targeting older women.
I would be really interested in seeing that.
I'm excited
Especially
to see.
if it's for older skin, because my skin is older.
If you watch his videos, he tends to cater to older women.
I pick and choose what videos I watch.
He's very much... he's the only YouTuber I know of that does looks on women with, like, older skin.
Yeah.
And techniques, if you're an older woman with a hooded eye, how to do it so it doesn't transfer. Like, different, like, I've learned... Because I have hooded eyes, too, so I've watched his videos.
Mine are semi-hooded.
And so the fact that he loves it, I'm just so excited because I really like Tati. I really like him, and he was over the moon about it. Like
it looks fantastic, and the Jeffree Star quality makeup I know is good. Like I know it's good, and I love a good color palette. But I would buy that stuff just for display. Like I don't know that I would use it or that like I'm creative enough to do the kind of looks.
That's like the only thing I've ever wanted from his is that Alien palette because it looks cool.
Oh, well, I deeply wanted the androgyny palette, like, for years, and then that one palette came out by ABH that I bought that I was so excited about. Do you remember? It didn't do well. They were selling it at TJ Maxx, but they sell all of
the ABH at TJ Maxx eventually.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the
green one? The dark, is it dark green?
Oh, God, what is it called?
It's not Norvina, because I have Norvina.
It's the one before Norvina.
Yes.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! I can pull it out
because I know.
I'm gonna pull it out.
It was such a big. Everybody in the beauty community did not.
They hated it.
They hated it because they didn't understand color theory.
I know. And to be fair, Mario did say you shouldn't have to understand color theory to like wear makeup, and I agree with that. But I love the colors so much.
Yeah, but I think you should, I guess, understand to a degree. If you're going to mix something with this undertone with something with this undertone, it's going to make brown because that's how color theory works. Subculture palette. Yes.
I love it.
It's a gorgeous palette. I love the yellow in it.
Yeah. But I also really like the duochrome one that's in here.
Is it Adorn?
The one that you put on as highlighter.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes. I like that one a lot. Oh, my God.
I love this palette so much.
It's really beautiful. But...
It's like my favorite ABH.
But no, he was really... It was a little weird. He, like, did swatches on his face.
Oh.
I was like, okay, cool. So he's just over here, like, his face is covered with eyeshadow by the end of it. But
then you can see what it looks like on your face and not on your arm.
Yeah.
I'm into that.
But he was, like, I've never seen him this excited for anything before. But he's also, they're both OG beauty gurus, and I think he's very happy for her.
Very true, yeah.
Like, he literally did, like, an excited, like, like clap because he was halfway through and he's like, "Oh my god, look at this one! Look at this one!"
Add it to my watch videos
and like
now.
Wayne is never this over the top thing, but he's like, I'm like a 40-year-old man, like living over this.
He's super dry and like very so dry to the point. Calm. Yeah,
and so like to see him excited about this, my god, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I'm really excited that Tati put out something so good. Not that I doubted Tati by any means.
No, I don't think she'd ever put out anything.
But the fact that somebody I regard so highly as Wayne Goss, like he's like the epitome of beauty gurus for me in terms of he has the ultimate taste.
All right, I just saved it.
And what's good and what's not good and what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing.
Thumbnail.
Oh yeah, it's all over his face.
Oh my god, I love it so much. It's absolutely stunning, and I love the way that she has it set up, like where it's just like mattes and.
It makes sense.
What are they called?
Matte, sequins, glitter. No. Shimmer, and then glitter or something like that.
Yeah. The sequin looks really fucking cool. I don't think I've seen anything like that before. No, because
he described it as it's not a glittery or sparkly thing, but there are like really, really, really finely pressed glitter.
There's no shimmer. It's not a shimmer.
Like a subtle sparkle or something.
It's a different texture than we've ever seen before.
But also, the more I looked at it, the more I realized it's kind of the same color, just in 4 different textures.
Yeah, that's the textured neutrals.
But they're there's a slightly different.
The tone is different as you go up her palette, like starting at mattes and then you go up.
But I'm very impressed. Like
I'm going to get it.
Make some good.
I'm super excited to get it. She did say that it was going to be always in stock.
Oh, how? Yeah. How do you guarantee that?
Because I think, and I noticed the name says Textured Neutrals Volume 1.
Yes.
So more are bound to come, and I think it's one of those things where it will always be a staple in her line. So you will, no matter what she puts out.
Oh, so it's not a limited edition.
It's not limited edition.
Yes, because every fucking beauty guru thing is a limited edition.
I hate that.
So get it while you can.
I went back to try and buy the Androgyny palette, and like it just hasn't come back up. And the very first one that he put out was a Beauty Killer.
Beauty Killer.
They have not come back in.
But also, I think one of the reasons he hasn't brought those back is because the packaging was so different back then.
Oh, that's true.
They're super
and he's
cheap.
Super into
I've
packaging.
used the Androgyny palette before, and it's super cheap.
If he comes back out in a package of the Androgyny, I will purchase that because I've coveted that for for years now.
Now,
onto something that's not so far. I feel ridiculous talking about makeup.
We're excited.
It is
part
exciting.
Of us. It's part of us.
I love makeup so much. I played with makeup last night, and I haven't done it in months, and it was just so nice to sit down and be like, I have not touched my Makeup Revolution like color one, and I like sat and just played for hours, and it was therapeutic for me.
Yeah, I bet. It's just the coloring.
It's just fun to take the time on your face.
Now, moving on, we have 2 more things on the docket, both political. One is Beto O'Rourke has dropped out of...
I'm not surprised.
The Democratic run. I'm a little bit surprised, honestly.
He's not polling like...
He's huge with Gen Z and millennials.
Is, but he's not polling like some of the other candidates.
He's definitely not. He doesn't have a broad appeal. And I think the thing that really killed his...
But I really liked him.
I was indifferent. They were trying to frame him as the white Obama, and I was like, "You'll never be Obama.
That.
You'll never be Obama."
Don't do that. Oh, I had an Obama moment today I have to tell you about.
Okay.
Yeah.
The thing that killed his campaign, and I guarantee this is it, is he said he wants to go and take people's guns, and that immediately dropped him in the polls.
Which that's so ridiculous.
I mean, I'd be down for it, but
no, it's ridiculous that dropped him. Well, that just shows where
we're in America, girl.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
I would give up my gun.
Oh, I would too. In a heartbeat. I would give up your gun too. No,
I know.
I'd give up all of my dad's guns.
You guys, he's taking it out of my closet right now and throwing it in the trash.
We're just gonna. Will it blend?
I've never had to use it, and the thought of using it is terrifying. But if it came down to it, I would. But the bat is still next to my bed. So
of course, and that's really what matters here. Mm-hmm. But now he's gone, so that's another one bites at us. They really need to start cutting people though, because
it's gonna start.
We literally are down to the wire. We have a year now.
But this is normal.
Yes, but usually we have it down to 3 to 4 candidates by Super Tuesday, which is March.
Yeah, but I think with this political climate, I'm not surprised. There's so many people who saw Trump get elected, and on the one hand think, well, if he can do it, I can do it. But also on the other hand, like everybody is seeing how fucked up it is, and everybody just wants to get in there and just do as much change as they can.
I think Kamala and Cory Booker are the next 2 to go. Kamala Harris has been closing offices.
Would you like to make a wager? Because I was going to say I think Kamala is going to go before Cory.
Maybe.
I think Kamala will go before Cory.
Because she's the one who's shutting down offices.
Yeah.
Cory had a deadline, and I don't know if he met it. I guess he did, because it was like, if I don't meet it by this time, I'm going to have to be out. But I think both of them are next. But I honestly think it needs to be Biden, Buttigieg, Bernie, and Warren. Those need to be the four.
I just think Bernie is not electable.
I know, but Bernie has the millennial and Gen Z vote. So
he really fucking does, because I'm an elder millennial.
Yeah.
And I love Bernie. I fucking love Bernie.
He's okay.
I really
like
him.
His ideas.
He's
I don't think he's realistic. And
that's why I like him, because I'm not realistic at all.
Well, no, exactly, but I'm trying to be realistic here, because
you're right.
I know we cannot go from absolutely, like, nothing to 100.
Sure.
Like that.
No, it's not possible.
Because he doesn't have the support of either party.
No.
He's only a Democrat to run with a potential
No, that's very true. And they're going to block him. And they're going to block him on everything. Are really going to block him.
So, like, unless we get more independents who are Bernie-centric in office, he can't achieve anything.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Warren is friends with a lot of Democrats. She's friends with some Republicans. She can make shit happen, whereas Bernie, I don't think can.
I'm donating to her campaign this week. I really want her in. I need to donate, and I haven't donated, and I should. I should, too. Are you going to try and win a trip to have a beer with her? Oh, my God. So I saw that, and immediately it was like, how do I enter Mario? You have to make a donation. Yeah, but I was like, if I enter it, I haven't looked it up. But it's usually you and a friend. Oh, well, maybe we should. And we can interview for a podcast. I feel like Mario would melt if he saw her. I would cry. He would be a puddle of Mario. Oh my gosh. But no, I really think we need to narrow it down. It's going to happen, honey. It's coming. Just but there's patient. Still like 9 people. We have Castro, Buttigieg, Biden, Bernie, Elizabeth, Cory, Kamala. What's his face? Yang. Let the process weed the people out. Just let it happen. It's going to happen. Faster. I know. Because I think you're just getting impatient. Well, I'm getting scared because we need to establish a candidate so we have a strong branding. When is Super Tuesday? Super Tuesday's in March. It's the first Tuesday in March. But honey, this is only November. Yeah, that's not far, girl. It's not, but by Super Tuesday we're going to have our candidates. I hope. We are. Well, I mean, that's usually when they start dropping like flies in terms of, but usually we don't have this many candidates. We usually down to like 5. To me, it doesn't matter. And then we get to the last 2, and then it's just a bigger race now. It doesn't matter. Super Tuesday is going to be the defining moment. Everything's going to be fine. States are going to pick who they get behind. It's just, my concern is there are so many people, it's hard for anybody to stand out. Oh, no. So, no. Elizabeth is definitely standing out. Biden was for a minute. I wouldn't say he's doing that so much anymore. I've heard rumors that a lot of Democratic donators, like the rich elite, like the Democrats that nobody likes, and that, or at least the younger generation doesn't like, that Hillary was very friendly with, are wanting Hillary to run because they don't like anybody. And that's like, well, tough titty. Stop, because if she runs, I'd be pissed. Yeah, I love Hillary Clinton so much, but she lost. Well, she won, but she lost the actual electoral college. But it's just going to divide us even further. Yeah, we can't be divided anymore. We cannot afford I'm down if her and Elizabeth have a... If she's Elizabeth Warren's vice president... If they have like a come to Jesus meeting and like Elizabeth is like, you got this, girl. I'm stepping down for you. I'm in. But like if that's... Elizabeth Warren would never do that. Elizabeth Warren does not like Hillary Clinton. This is I'm imagining. Oh yeah. Okay. They don't like each other. Sure. I understand. I could see why that would be. But if that were to happen, Hillary would have my full support. But as of right now, I'm behind Elizabeth. No, I would never. There's no one else that I think is better for the country than Elizabeth right now. And I like a lot of the candidates. She's got a fucking plan. She's got a fucking plan for that. Now, finally, on our docket for icebreakers, the impeachment inquiry is now official. Yeah. They voted on it. It passed by a lot. But, I mean, it was all Democrats voting. I think we're going to have a, what's his name? A Nixon moment. You think he's going to quit? I think there's a strong possibility. I mean, his mental health is not doing well right now. There's all these, like, inside reports that he is terrified of the impeachment. I started looking into it after you mentioned it. Any favor that he did have, I feel like it's dwindling.
Yeah.
I feel like it's, I don't know, like...
Polls keep surging and dropping, and as more details comes out, it'll surge, and then people are like, okay, well, whatever, I don't really care, so then it drops. Mm-hmm. So, like, America's very much 50-50 divided on, we want him impeached, we don't want him impeached.
So I'm hoping that means everyone's going to get so tired with all the drama surrounding him that literally people are like, I can't deal with you anymore. I can't.
His base is so passionate.
They're vocal.
They are vocal, they are passionate, they will get out there and march with pitchforks and Klans hoods. Like, they will do.
That's fine.
But
that is fine.
But it's officially started. They've already pulled stuff from the Mueller report.
Good job.
They like classified things that weren't supposed to be released, but they got some of the stuff released.
Good.
And they've already had more people corroborate that quid pro quo was in effect. With,
I just need like the shitty stuff that happens behind the White House doors out in the public eye.
Oh,
like,
girl.
that's all I fucking care about.
Woo!
Like, at this point, I'm just like, yeah, I want hardcore proof. Like, every time you get into an argument with someone who's a Republican or supports Trump, everything is about feelings. Nothing is about really fact that much. It's like how they feel, what they want. And some Democrats are like that too. But, like, if you have hard proof, it's like you can't fucking argue with me anymore. Mm-hmm. And then if you're like, well, quid pro quo is normal, well, then you're part of the problem, not the solution. And you just backed up what I was fucking trying to say.
It's one thing if it's quid pro quo for the favor of your country.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we will do
not
this for you
gain.
if you do this for our country, not so you can help me win an election.
And to withhold military stuff. Like, that is so fucking irresponsible.
It's disgusting. It's so disgusting.
They're protecting the people. I don't understand. I, like, don't get it.
People, it just, I don't know. It's weird to me how consistently lower class Americans, in terms of financial,
I have so many opinions about it, and I can't say it on
refuse to vote for their own benefit. Because Republicans do not care about poor people. Republicans care about the wealthy. And it's consistently proven over and over again, despite what they say, that they're going to first help the rich people first. And the rich people who are supposed to, in turn, help the poor people are not going to do it. Trickle-down economics failed when Reagan did it, and it continues to fail to this day.
But it's our social class. It's how things run in here. Like, India has caste systems. We have them too. We just don't call them that.
Yeah.
And so, like, the infringed people, it's the same thing with racism. That's a social construct. With infringed people, it's about, like, well, at least I'm better than that group. Or, like, yeah, I may be poor, but my morals are amazing. And the Republicans play on that.
They do.
And so that's why.
And also a big contributor to that, I think, is also the American dream. Because one day maybe I will be that rich.
Oh, yeah.
And then I wouldn't want to be taxed a lot.
Bitches, I dream about winning the lottery all the time and building a house big enough for all of my family to live together. I'm still not voting for Trump.
You'd want to live with your entire family?
I would live with Daniel's family again.
Oh, okay.
It's some of the happiest times in my life.
Okay. I don't know if I can handle being around that many people.
It would be a house big enough to everybody would have their own wing.
Oh, okay. That's a huge ass house.
Yes, it is. Yes, ma'am. This is my wing. That's your wing. That's your wing, and I'm going to buy everyone their own cars.
Is this just a big octopus house?
Absolutely. An octagon house is the best for, like, mental clarity anyway.
Yeah, it'll be like living on a compound.
Absolutely. It'll be the Walker compound. And then I would build my parents their own cottage, but it would not be attached to the house.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
They're not included.
They are, but, like, my mom wouldn't want to live with all those people.
I wouldn't either. No offense.
Oh, but I've lived with the Walkers before for 4 years.
Oh, wow.
In this house.
Where were y'all living?
We lived in Maddie's bedroom.
Oh,
all 4 of us. For 4 years.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can handle that.
It was, I mean, it was therapeutic for me.
Really?
Yeah. I grew up in a
house.
house.
You have no privacy.
Oh, I know. But it was therapeutic for me.
Oh. Just being around family?
A normal functioning family that, like, was ride or die for each other. Like, that was therapeutic for me. Because you grow up with your family dynamic, and when other people have different family dynamics, you're like, wait, what? Or, like, for me, I was salty, like, to see Daniel's relationship with his mom or Damaris's relationship with her mom. Like, sometimes I would get so mad. I'd be like, why the fuck is my life, like, why is that normal? And they had just as many struggles, if not more, than we did.
Oh.
And so I don't know, I don't get it. Mental health is a real issue in families.
Definitely.
The Trauma Doesn't Start With You. My favorite book right now.
Now, did we want to segue into Rachel with that particular family drama, or do we want to do Chelsea first?
Okay, so I was thinking about this because at first I was like, I'm going to end on Rachel. But then I was like, because I watched Rachel and then I watched Chelsea. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, No, we have to end on Chelsea.
I thought we should end on Chelsea
because
too, because it's lighter.
Like the broad. Well, it is, but it's also like the broad sense of what we're talking about, and Rachel is like specific. So yeah, there's a lot of empathy in there, Definitely. And a lot of things that you and I can relate to and understand. But like the overall problem's still there, and then the overall problem is basically like what Chelsea's talking about.
All right, cool. Then we will be right back.
We're so in sync. Our menses have synced.
God, is this what it's like to have a period?
Oh my God, I'm so emotional today. I feel like I'm about to start mine.
Oh no.
It's fine.
I'm sorry.
It's great because it means I'm not pregnant.
Oh, that's good.
But Daniel did tell me he would adopt today.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Are you ready for that?
Yeah.
Are you going to adopt like an older kid or a baby?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would adopt, if I could convince him, I would adopt 2 more kids.
Oh.
Really close to Danny and Mag's age. I would adopt another girl and another boy. Preferably siblings.
Oh, okay.
Preferably ethnic.
I'd hope so. I feel like it'd be kind of weird to raise white kids.
But like if it was 2 siblings that didn't want to be separated and were in need of a home, fine. But like I've always wanted to like a mixed racial family because I'm mixed. I'm half white. I'm half Hispanic. Mm-hmm. It's a very unique view on the world. So a family that's actually mixed like that, I think, is also super unique.
So, like, when would this be? Soon?
I'm assuming it's going to be, like, in the next 4 years or so.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's not too soon.
No, because we would need a bigger house, and we're on our plan right now to move and build a house or buy a fairly new house.
I heard Val was telling me it's easier to buy a house than to get a house built.
Yes, unless you go to, like, one of these, like, cookie-cutter neighborhoods, which we are seriously considering for the neighborhood aspect for our children. Like, riding bikes and having friends in the neighborhood. So that we really want to do. But
would you let them go outside, though? To be honest.
Where my mother-in-law lives, yes.
Okay.
Where my mom lives, no.
Okay.
So, like, newer, younger families, definitely. So, like, that, like, I think it's Greyhawk. Greyhawk tends to be different races, like, people who are middle class that are buying, like, nicely made homes that are not expensive because it's all, like, from one type of, you have, like, 5 options for everything. So,
okay.
Middle class, lower and middle class people tend to be able to afford that. Where we live, that's mostly Black, Hispanic. So those neighborhoods are diverse. They're younger. The kids are really close to my kids' age. Like I totally would do that. They play outside right now without me at my grandmother or my in-laws' house. Yeah, no problem. I have no problem.
Well, good luck with that. Keep us posted.
I just want to have 2 more kids. I want 2 kids.
Oh, girl.
I do. I want 2 more kids. I just don't want a baby.
Babies are rough. And they smell.
Daniel was watching Rachel the other day. He was like, do you want another baby? And I was like, the fuck are you talking to? I was like, no, I don't want another baby. And he was like, oh, okay. And I was like, do you want another baby? And he was like, no. And that's when I was like, I would adopt a kid. And he was like, yeah, we can adopt. And I was like, yes, oh my God, my heart soared. Because not everybody's okay with adoption. Like that's just not for some people. And I get that.
I didn't understand it.
I don't either, but like, my life experience.
If you want to have a kid and this kid needs somebody to take care of them, and you have a good connection with them, like you meet them and it fits, what's wrong?
Some people just don't want to adopt, and I that's a valid choice. Please don't have children.
Yeah,
if you don't want
I don't want kids at all. But if I wanted kids, that'd definitely be an option.
Adoption would be an option. But there are some people who are like, no, I want to carry, and I'm like, I don't want to carry. I don't want a baby. So I'm down. I want.
My uterus couldn't handle another one.
Oh my God! Even if my uterus could. My ovaries dry up anytime someone's like, are you having more kids? I'm like, I have 2 fucking kids. And
when I first met this bitch, she was trying for a third.
I was not trying. We were talking.
She wanted it bad. We were at Indian. Was it Indian? And she was staring at somebody else's baby. I'm like, girl, calm down.
Because babies are so cute now that they're not mine, and I understand them. Because when I had babies, I was like, why won't you stop crying? But my biological clock ticking. I was in my early 30s. It happens to a lot of women. I knew that. So I had moments where I was like, oh, a baby. But then, like, overall, I'm like, oh, a baby. So it happens. Like, biological clock ticking is real. Like, your body's like, hey, bitch, you have ovaries left. We're going to start dumping in, like, 5 years. Make a decision.
Does it really?
It's called ovary dumping. Yeah, it's like as you get older, the eggs that you have, like, left, egg dumping. They start to, like, that's the beginning of menopause. Is like your eggs are just like, go.
Do you just have like a huge period or something?
I think they get a little bit more intense as you get older, yeah. And I think that's why I'm having normal periods now, even with my Mirena. Because before I didn't even have one. But that's why a lot of older women end up with, like, twins.
Oh.
You're egg dumping at that time.
Wow.
If they're not doing IVF, then yeah, they're egg dumping.
I didn't know that.
So that's your body.
That makes sense.
It's a biological clock, yeah.
No, really
There's
quickly.
a scientific explanation for fucking everything.
I guess so.
There really is.
Now, really quickly, before we end, I forgot to tell you.
Tell me.
I started watching Gilmore Girls again.
Yes, because it's cold. Did you drink your cider and light a candle?
I did, and I started it. It's so gay.
Oh my god, I love it. Then I'm gay, because that sounds amazing. I'm a gay man. Actually, that kind of makes sense.
I'm on episode 7, so we'll see how it goes this time. I'm trying to go into it with an open mind. I talked to Val about it. I tried to talk to Val about it, and she's like, well... Like, the part that you stopped at, like, that's when things start getting better with their relationship.
Yeah, definitely.
And I was like, okay, I was just so frustrated.
Well, yeah, I told you that, too.
I was so frustrated with Lorelai. It's like, I don't know.
And then even in the new seasons, when she has, like, her little, what's it called? Her monologue.
Midlife crisis?
Yeah, when she has her monologue to Emily, and she talks about her dad, and she, like, realizes that she's part of the problem. Like, I thought that was so beautiful. Mm-hmm. So I'm here for it.
I was so pissed off at her that she didn't say anything nice at his fucking funeral.
Oh, but, like... You know, that she probably couldn't. Some people can't. I have a really good friend that she met, like, the man of her dreams. And they were, like, married and engaged within 7 months of meeting. And they're still together. They're beautiful. It was, like, a real-life love story in front of me. And one day, like, she came to work crying. I was like, what's wrong? And she said, he asked me to tell me why I loved him. And she was like, I couldn't do it, and I've just been beating myself up about it. Some people aren't good at talking about hard emotions. Like, it's really terrible. And then on top of the dad dying, if you believe everything she said, she'd been drinking. She hadn't eaten anything in days. She hadn't slept in days. Like, she's very different from her mom in some respect. And Lorelai never really talks about feelings.
She does to Rory.
I think Rory's her safe place.
I guess. I don't know. I
think you judge Lorelai because of your own experiences, and they're not the same.
Yeah, probably.
They're totally not the same.
It's just really hard for me to...
It's hard to separate. I get it. No, I'm not judging you.
But we'll see. Hopefully I can enjoy it this time.
Just tweet me, honey, and I'll be there to subtweet.
I don't tweet, girl.
Okay, we'll text me.
Okay. All right, but we'll be right back after this. So... For this part of the podcast, we're going to be talking about Rachel Dolezal.
Mario got me to watch The Rachel Divide. It is on Netflix.
It's a really long documentary. I forgot how long it was.
It's long. It's like, I saw it,
it's
an hour and 2 hours.
It's an hour and 44
2
minutes. 2
hours with this bitch?
I know.
I watched it, though. I really am.
I gave really good perspective. I enjoyed it better the second time.
I think it's also really fair in showing both sides.
It is.
Which you don't get a lot in documentaries.
You don't get a lot in the news coverage either. You just see her as this woman pretending to be black.
Yeah.
And I feel like
it's so layered.
It really did. So I do feel like it did really make me empathize with her.
Yeah. I had more empathy for her than I did in the past.
I don't agree with what she's doing.
Oh, God,
I don't agree with transraciality.
Yeah, that's so... I wrote down something about that.
Oh.
So I can't wait to talk to you about that.
But it pretty much starts off showing what happened and why it happened. So... I
have everything written down chronologically.
Go for it.
I took notes as I wrote.
Go for it.
So do you just want to go and, like, base off of that?
Absolutely, you should leave this. If you have a timeline, by all means.
It's not like... It's just like my notes as things.
Your notes are way more detailed than mine, because I didn't take as many notes this time because I watched it already.
Okay, so I will say I felt really strange watching it. I tend not to purchase things of people that, like, I don't support or don't really believe in their product.
Well, no, she does not get any financial benefit for this.
And he told me that. And so I felt way less skeevy watching it.
Yeah, I'm just fascinated. It's like watching a train wreck, you know?
What's the word that we're always talking about? Third party
embarrassment.
I have such a problem with that. Like, I would apologize to, like, a serial killer if someone embarrassed me. Like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I have a real, like, that's something I have to work on within myself because it's not always justified. But I have, like,
or secondhand embarrassment.
That's it. Secondhand, third party. Jesus. We're the acquirer.
We're the reader.
Yeah.
We're not even...
I just can't. So I get secondhand embarrassment a lot for people, like, all the time, and I'm always, like, over apologizing for things because of that, or I try to make a connection with that person so they feel a little less alone. Mm-hmm. I don't know. And the thing is I don't get embarrassed really easily.
I do.
I don't.
I'll blush, like...
Sometimes Mario gets embarrassed. I'm like, why are you embarrassed? Like, don't be embarrassed. It's like, I can't help it. I'm like, okay.
And I can't hide it either. My cheeks turn bright red.
Whitey over here.
Oh my God, rude. Okay, I was called...
light-skinned Mexican.
Oh God, what was it they called me? They called me a... What was like? They called me like my family because I'm the palest of all my family. No, they called me. It was essentially like an inside out coconut because I'm brown on the inside, white on the outside. Maybe I don't know. I've tried to block it out, but they called me something.
They call my mother-in-law has all these racist nicknames for her kids. It's so funny.
Racism. We covered it.
So there are 4 grandchildren that like my mother-in-law interacts with on a daily basis. She has more grandchildren. Of course, my brother-in-law's daughter. Okay. The oldest is Darius. He is half black, half Puerto Rican. And my mother-in-law, I forget what my mother-in-law calls him. She calls him like her caramel pop or something like that.
Oh my God.
So that my nephew, Caden, is very dark. He's also half Puerto Rican and half black, but she calls him her brownie.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like a chocolate brownie. So, but I mean, he is chocolatey. Beautiful skin. Oh my God, he is gorgeous. And then like Danny is clarito, which is basically clear because he's so pale. And then totally Maddie is a blanquita because she can get dark, but she's like me. I can get really dark, but I'm also very pale.
I feel like colorism is a reality of life.
My mother-in-law keeps it real. Okay,
no matter what race you are, if you're a person of color, there's colorism.
I pierced my lip once, and she was like, "Bitch, what is that?"
She said that.
She was disgusted. She's like, "What are you doing with your life?" Like I'd failed. It was great. It was really.
I do
good.
feel like you should get rid of a lip piercing once you turn 18, unless you're a rock star.
Because I got it when I was like 25. I still have the hole.
Girl.
Mm-hmm. Daniel hated it too.
My sister has, or last I saw her, she had one. And I was like, girl, you're 30.
But my lips
You're
are
not a
big.
rock star.
Oh,
you're not a groupie.
I want to get my nipples repierced. That's fine.
But that's different.
I guess people
that's
don't
for
see
you,
it.
not for the world.
Sure. Okay. Back to racism.
Unless you're at fucking Mardi Gras.
I would be more inclined to flash people if my nipples were pierced.
Same. Not
there's
really.
jewelry on my nipples now. Like, look at my glitter nipples. Like,
you're gonna have a Janet Jackson moment.
Yeah.
Have a whole breastplate.
Staged everything.
Oh
Except I won't apologize and act like it was a stage. I'd be like, yeah, I wanted to fucking show my tits.
And that's how Jessica got arrested.
Sure. I'd be glad if my mugshot said indecent exposure.
But then you become a sex offender.
Would I?
Yeah, sometimes if you expose yourself like that in certain jurisdictions.
I don't want to do that. Never mind. Oh my God.
Yeah, girl.
No, I don't want to be a sex offender. That's terrible.
Anyway.
Okay.
Back to Rachel.
Yes.
So, by all means,
it's called... Okay, so I just have my notes and opinions as it went through. So you fill in wherever you need to.
Of course.
So it's called The Rachel Divide. It's about Rachel... Say her last name.
Dolezal.
Dolezal, because I always say Dolezal.
Well, that's not even her name anymore.
No, it's not. It's
I cannot with her name.
I don't...
When I saw her name, I was like, excuse me?
Let's look it up really quick.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's her... It's like a super African name.
So some of this stuff I knew before watching, and so when she goes in to change her driver's license and they ask her to spell her name and how it's pronounced, Gina's like, what the fuck?
Her name is Nkechi Amare Diallo.
Yeah.
And it's like, girl, that's not you. But whatever, Rachel, you do you.
So we're going to be talking about Rachel Dolezal before she... Dolezal. I said Dolezal. Before she becomes Nkechi Amare Diallo.
Right.
So one of the most interesting things that I found out about, Rachel. I have like so the very first thing, someone says you can either look at her like she's a hustler, which you can appreciate and respect that. Sure. But then also, like, you can look at her as someone who's trying to navigate the complexities of life. And so that's one of the first phrases that they say in the documentary. And I feel like you're set up to look at it that way throughout the whole documentary. So I thought that was really nice.
I did appreciate the direction of this documentary.
Yeah, it was really good.
I will say with the Chelsea documentary, I felt like it didn't have a direction. It was just sharing.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, we're trying to tell a story about this woman's life to make you understand why she is the way that she is. And say that we don't agree with it. We also don't want to persecute her for it because she's been through enough shit.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was a very interesting journey.
Good. So I have a lot of things that she would say or people would say, and I wrote it down really quick because it sparked something within me. So the first thing that I have was she was saying that she hopes in 20 years people have the right to live how they feel. Mm-hmm. And I agree with that statement, but not deceptively.
Yeah.
And so the big thing for me was, I agree wholeheartedly that there is no race. We are the human race. Mm-hmm. You cannot discount ethnicities because it does shape generations of people. I'm reading a book about it right now. Your socioeconomic, your ethnic background, all of that is part of who you are, like, as a person.
Identity. And the experience you will have and face
until the end. You're right, because your skin color and your genetics don't change. So I strongly believe that there's no race. We're just the human race. But ethnicity is a little bit harder to discount. And so she's not just saying she's black. She was living as though she was a persecuted black woman.
Yes.
She got scholarships based on that. But then she sued another university in the forms of, like, a white woman. So even
she was trying to have her cake and eat it too.
Right. So I totally agree with the fact that you should live how you want. And maybe you are a white girl that just really fucking loves the African culture. I've said this before. I love the style of those big skirts and the African prints and the head wraps and all that. And I would wear it because I find it beautiful and fascinating. But we are not living in a time where that's appropriate. And it's not appropriate because that stuff came out of hardship. Like, it's not just like, oh, it's a pretty pattern. Like, these were things that they had to scrape and get and wore as a symbol of their tribes that they were taken from and shipped over here. So I know that, like, I hope one day that's not an issue. But, like, at the same time, I'm respecting the people around me. Yeah. And I wouldn't wear those things even though I find them
beautiful.
They're the most beautiful things I've ever seen. Like, clothing-wise, they're stunning. I love them. So Rachel, maybe she does identify as black, and we'll get into that why, and I understand more why now. But, like, she was extremely deceptive. Yes. And then we'll also get into why she was deceptive.
I do want to start off by saying there is no denying she did some good. No, as the head of the NAACP chapter in Spokane. Yes. There's no denying she's helped the community. Yeah. But the fact that she did it under deception kind of undercuts everything. Right. It makes people not be able to see past that. Yeah. And it's a shame, but at the same time, you can't go about lying like that, girl. Like, you're trying to take...
And I don't want to say she didn't know what she was doing.
She knew what she was doing.
She knew what she was doing.
Absolutely knew what she was doing, because they even talked about her transition, because her second adopted son did not want to be seen as part of a mixed race family, so she started to dress...
Her first adopted son.
Was it her first?
It was her first. Okay. Her brother, yeah.
He didn't want to be seen as part of a mixed family, so she started to make herself seem more black.
But it started even before then, though. Yeah. Yeah. So the next thing I have was, like, her relationship with her son. So her oldest adopted son is actually her brother, her adopted brother. And then she adopted a second. No, that's her biological kid.
Is that the second one?
They both, yeah. So the second one is, and then also the third one that she had. She was pregnant during the documentary.
And had the baby during the documentary.
And I actually found that scene in the maternity ward very empowering. So I do want to talk about that when we get there.
I was fascinated about what she brought up about the race thing, too.
Yes, oh my God, I had a moment. I was like, oh my God. She says things that are so profound, and I think just a touch ahead of our time.
I honestly think she's a very intelligent woman.
No, she is an intelligent woman.
She's a very intelligent woman. She's a very talented artist.
Amazing artist.
I just think
there's so much pain there.
Yes. Maybe she's just way ahead of her time. I don't know.
I think she's ahead of her time in some of the things that she says, but the way that she justifies trying to act them out is a mental health issue. Yeah, no, I think it's absolutely... All of this is a mental health issue to me.
She's super smart, she's super talented, but she has some issues that she has to deal with, and the fact that she's not, it's causing her to act out the way that she's acting
out. She's like, well, why people aren't ignoring? And I was like, what? Like, why... Why, honey, you're white. She said you were black. Anyway, so I thought her relationship with her sons was endearing.
I felt really bad for them, though.
So bad for them, but they also, like, she clearly left such a hard mark on their lives that they were not going to turn away from her. And that's
she's
something
done
to be
some
said
good
about
shit
her.
For them. She's a good person in the sense that she pretty much gave up.
She genuinely loves them.
Yeah, and you can tell. And I cannot take that away from her either. She genuinely loves her family.
Because if it were my mom, I'd be like, bitch, you're cut off. Yeah. If it was Damaris, I'd be like, are you crazy? Like, this is wrong. But it reminded me of Daniel and their family, because they are not door slammers on each other. Like, they are ride or die for each other. And all the time.
I did feel bad for her son, her oldest son, because he's like, I just don't want you to do this anymore. I just want a normal life. Like, and I felt for him, but at the same time,
I was ready to fight people on the street.
Yeah. Yes?
That was Coco. We're down to 3 knocks now. I can't. Okay. Oh. So the next thing, I noticed that her life was the same. Like, she reminded me of a lot of struggles that other moms have. Like, just like navigating how to like do what's best for her kids, also trying to like circumvent yourself. So there was the scene outside of the barbershop
When they were telling her to not park in front of the barbershop.
So she dropped her sons off at a barbershop to get a haircut. And she's like, you know what? I'm not going inside. I don't want to deal with questions. I don't want to deal with people's anger. So she was like, I'm going to stay in the car. Her youngest son said, I don't want to go in alone. She's like, you're not. You're going in with your older brother. And the owner came out and was like, you can't park here. And she's like, well, tell me where I can park. He's like, anywhere you want. But she's like, well, I'm trying to make sure my son can find me when he's done getting a haircut. He said, oh, he's not lost. You can't park in front of my store. And it was clearly, he was offended by what she had done. It was embarrassing, second-hand embarrassment right here. But at the same time, if it were me, I would have been like, I don't want you associated with my business either.
Same. No, absolutely. Yeah. Like, it's a really tough space
it's a hard
to be
scene
in.
To watch.
But also, I don't know, you can't blame them. You can't blame them for not wanting to have anything to do with her because it's so much deception and so much, I don't know, just lack of integrity. A lot of people won't do that. Yeah. Or don't want to be associated with that.
I know, and you don't want to be seen doing business with that person. Spokane is a small town.
Exactly. Yeah. And if they hear, oh, well, he's letting Rachel come in here, I'm just like, oh.
And this is also at the time of, like, a huge racial awakening for us. Like, right after this is when a lot of the police brutality was coming out. And
yes.
So it was right on the cusp of that. And so it's a sensitive time. And people make mistakes, and it's so hard to make a mistake in the public eye because you feel like you're
especially on a national level,
international. She had like gotten in newspapers in other countries, so it's hard to recover from that. She did have good intentions, but this is the one time where I'm like, your intentions were so wrong, though. Like, you executed them poorly. I'm big on intentions. Somebody hurts my feelings, I'm like, oh, well, that's not how you meant it. Like, your intentions were there, and I can forgive it, but like, this was such a big thing. And
definitely. So it was embarrassing too.
It was really, really bad. And then seeing her sons respect her and stand behind her.
I think it's a testament to the kind of person she is.
Yes, but then like I'll take your money and I will do business with your kids, even though she's probably paying for it. Mm-hmm. And then to disrespect her so openly, I feel like it could have been handled differently too. Like, just park somewhere else. Like, it was aggressive.
It was.
So that was one of the scenes that stood out to me. I have this note here because Daniel and I were like, damn, she can really do the fuck out of some hair.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God.
This thing's talented. And then at the end, when she was redoing her hair, I was like...
It was fascinating.
I was like, oh, my God, is she just having like a, I've lost it, I'm going crazy moment? Yeah. Like, she was just cutting off the fake hair.
It was a Britney moment.
And I was like, oh, and then she just sews it in new hair. I'm like, oh, my God, I thought she was losing it. And they're just capturing her losing because I forgot this part.
She can do the shit out of some hair.
She's a very talented person.
All around talented.
Her mom said she's a master artist. She studied this. So, I mean, I was very impressed by her hair, by the people's hair she did on the show. Like, all her, like, I was fascinated by her hair. And I've said it before, if it didn't look so culturally appropriate, I'd have some fucking box braids in too. When I was a kid, I used to love doing that to my hair. The next thing they talk about was the NAACP, like, hate mail. Yes.
And so the police investigated and found that only 2 people could have done it because it didn't go through processing. So the question was, and this is actually how we kind of found out about Rachel Dolezal. Rachel.
Raquel.
So this is local investigators or like news journalists, and they come on the documentary and they're like, we report on the news. This was part of the news. Someone was complaining that there were white supremacists attacking her when they weren't in our area. We're small.
Mm-hmm. So they're going to cover that shit.
They're going to cover that shit, and they're going to ask her some hard-hitting questions. And she looked like a liar in the interview. She looked like a liar. But also, I think that someone else that worked for the NAACP made a statement like, we've had people darker and more productive in our community not receive half of what she received as hate mail. Mm-hmm. So that does make me question. And so,
if it's actually somebody doing it, or
well,
if it's
I mean, the fact that only 2 people had access to the box, they all worked in the NAACP. I'm pretty sure it was her. Like, I think the hate letters were her. I'm not saying everything that happened was her, but I do think that.
Yeah, I'm sure she's always wanted to be the victim.
Yeah, she wants to...
Or be persecuted as a black woman. She wants persecution.
Yeah.
So she feels like she's actually what she's pretending to be. Because there was a part in the documentary where she's talking to a bunch of people, And a woman stands up and is like,
"Oh,
you
no,
have
let's
not."
save that.
Okay, that's my favorite part of the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, I was like, this is it. Like, this is the whole premise of like what's going on. So we're getting there, guys.
Okay.
So someone else made a comment that it was almost like she was trying to have racism make a comeback. So she thought if racism was coming back, more people would start getting involved.
Yeah,
and I think that's exactly what happened.
That's like a plot out of a bad mystery novel, or like a Scooby-Doo episode.
Yes, Scooby-Doo.
The Scooby-Doo episode right there.
Rachel Doo, yes.
Episode title, no.
Yeah. So here's the worst part about that. She made the NAACP look bad. Uh-huh. And then on top of that, all the good work that she did do
was discredited.
Immediately, everyone was like, we don't care. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter how much good you did. And on some levels, I don't think that's fair. Some levels, I don't think that's fair. Like, we live in a time where people can be like, Hitler was really smart. He was a fucking devil, but he was really smart. We should be able to say, what she did was absolutely terrible and disgusting and should never happen again. But the good she did for the community should still
matter.
It should still stand on its own somehow.
It's hard to.
I don't know how it should, but
it's hard to when it's being weighed down by her.
It's like a friend who lies to you and you guys make up and then like
you never trust them again.
You never trust them again. There's always in the back of your mind. So like I get it too, but this is much bigger than a friendship lie.
Absolutely, this is a life deception. And
then someone said, I don't care how anyone identifies, but you need to be a good person. And I thought, that's it. Like, that should have been the tagline of this documentary. Because at the end of the day, people do go back and forth about, like, yeah, I mean, we get where she's coming from. It was still totally fucked. And, yeah, she did great good, but, like, now we don't give a shit. It's like, absolutely. You should be able to identify as whatever you want to identify. Mm-hmm. I feel the same about my daughter and my son. But all I care about is that you're a good person. And I tell my kids that all the time. I'm like, I only care that you're nice. Mm-hmm. Like, nothing else matters to me except that you're fucking nice. Like, don't be a dick to people. Life is hard. Yeah. And so I thought that was a really key moment because she can identify however she wants. What's the term? I hate that term. A wigger. I hate that term.
Do you want to say that on recording?
Listen, guys, it's so inappropriate, but it's a term I grew up with in the 90s. It's very, like, a white person who's clearly appropriating black culture.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more appropriate back then. Please don't start using that word. I'm just saying the word because it's the only thing I can think of. I don't like that word. It's not a good word. But, like, you can be a person who's down. Like, be a down bitch. But you don't have the right to take on other people's struggles in a way that you could never even empathize
and
with.
Act like they're your struggles as well.
Oh my God. This was so deep for me. This is a good documentary. Mario hit it out of the park.
I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, I did. I really did. And then the thing in the yard about the concealed weapon permit, I immediately was like, oh, she planted that shit.
Maybe.
Because she was walking, and then she was like, yeah, you want to zoom in on that? And I was like, ew, that felt weird to me.
It felt very...
And she's like, now, but then she said, I don't know what to do. Like, normally I'll call the police, and now I have no credibility with the police. Like, do I mail it back to him? There's some man in my yard with a concealed weapon. Like, she just was, like, spiraling. And I was like, oh, I could see how you could spiral in a moment like that. Like,
yeah.
Especially with everything you're going through. And you're pregnant. People were trying to label her. I already have a problem with labels. Mm-hmm. I use them ironically. I don't like labels. I don't label myself. I don't label anybody. I don't like to. But someone said transracial, and I was thinking about that. And I said I like the term because it's a good vernacular explanation for what Rachel
in
did.
theory.
In theory.
But transraciality is a thing. Being transracial is when you are raised by somebody of another race.
Right.
And the experience you have. That's what being transracial is.
But she's not transracial.
She's not. Like, her kids may be transracial because she's a white woman raising black children.
But then she's also heavily appropriating black culture. Mm-hmm. So, is it really? I don't know.
Well, they were raised by white people initially.
They were. So, yeah, I mean...
Rachel's still white. She's just... I mean, she's helping them embrace their culture, which I think is fabulous. She's helping them...
Which I think you should do.
Because, like, when he gets in the car, he's like, nobody knew who Frederick Douglass was but me.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's
that
good.
Was a sad moment for me. I learned about Frederick Douglass growing up.
Yeah, but no, the fact that she's making sure he knows his history is fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't think she's a bad mother in that regard. I mean, putting your kids through this kind of does make you a bad mother, and it sounds like she's doing stuff for doing whatever she can to feed them, I guess, is really the thing.
A hustler, which is the very first line of the show.
Yeah, I can't knock her hustle in that regard.
No, I can't, yeah.
But I don't agree with it.
So when she went on The Real...
Oh, they tore her up.
Yeah, they didn't play.
No.
And some of them tried to be more sensitive and, like, hurt, like, I remember one time seeing, what's her name? Adrienne Bailon put her hand on Lonnie's arm.
Because Lonnie was heated.
It was like, okay, Lonnie, yes, okay, but, like, making sure she didn't get too much. And then she finally said, I was raised by biologically white people, and everybody clapped. And I was like, and she got mad. Like, I could see her face. I was like, but that's the problem, honey, is that you've never admitted that you're white. That's part of the issue. Like, you're ignoring. Well,
she accepts it now. She openly admits it. Yes, because there's that scene where she's on, when she goes on the Today Show. Yeah, she acknowledges, it's like, yes, I was born biologically white, but I don't identify as white. I'm a black woman.
She had worded it better at that time. Yeah. But that was like a big moment. Everybody clapped for her. It was like probably the first time she got a positive response to anything she said, and she still got angry about it. Yeah, and that's when I was like, "There's a real
something up here."
There's a
absolutely
like, at that moment, it should have in anyone else's head be like, "Oh, this is what gratification is." Mm-hmm. But for her, it wasn't what she wanted it for.
No, she people were cheering, "Yeah, I'm white." You just said it. It's like, oh, everybody's she's finally admitting it.
Mm-hmm. Like, hold on. No, you can keep talking.
Okay, no. With the reel, though, like, she was going into that, feeling, oh, yeah, well, I really like the reel, and I painted a picture of them, and whatever. And
she's
they
a little bit
tore her up. I was just like, damn.
Yeah. Do you want to, let's go ahead and talk about the show she went on.
Oh, the one where the woman talked to her?
Yeah, so she did a panel at a university with a man who I thought was very interesting.
I feel like nobody was there because all of the
walked out.
Well, but on top of that, all of the shots of the audience were like zoomed up on like 4 people at one time.
Yeah,
and they did like 3 different shots.
And it was all black women ready to go in.
Yes, it really was.
The people that showed up were ready to go in. The guy hosting the panel was a professor, and he's a black man. And he was like, "I do not identify as black. I do not identify as male." And instantly, like, a few men walked out. Like, I noticed that, and I was like, "Ooh, okay." But also, my sister-in-law lived in that area for a long time, and it is pretty aggressively racist up there.
In Spokane, Washington?
Spokane.
Or where were they? Was this in Washington?
It was in Washington, and it was on... So, like, for Washington on the Seattle side, it's not like that, but the closer you get to Idaho, it's super white and super, like, elitist. So, I'm just saying, homie was brave, and I would have gone and, you know, snaps to him, but not to her. And a lot of women, I think, at first were... When that girl broke it down, listen, when she said, help me.
You have not earned the right to call yourself
the initiation.
Yes, you haven't gone through the initiation.
So immediately Daniel and I were like, initiation.
And then Rachel was like, what are you talking about?
Well, and it wasn't quite like that. She was like, please explain to me what the initiation is.
But she said it in a way like, oh, come on, like there's no initiation.
Like, what's the initiation? And Daniel and I both were like, initiation? Like, that sounds so positive. That's not the right word. No. And then she was like, she went in on all the lists. What did she say?
You're being followed when you're at the store. You're not considered beautiful. Pulled over by the police for no reason.
There's no version of you and beauty in any part of like the media. Like and it was so powerful because she did not skip a beat.
And it came out
boom,
boom,
boom, boom.
And it was not editing.
This was clearly her experience, her struggles.
And it's the struggles of many black women in America.
I would say like 99%. It's it breaks my heart, but it's true. And then like she had to take a break, and she literally handed the microphone to the girl next to her.
She had to collect herself.
And then the girl went in for a little bit, and then she took that microphone.
I'm ready to go round 2.
And Rachel, you could tell, was angry because people were still not understanding her no matter what she did. I feel like a normal person would have been like, I need to step back and evaluate, because like every single group of people I've talked to are having the same reaction.
Then maybe it's not them.
And maybe it's not me. I mean, maybe it's not them, it's me. But she never has this moment. She even goes as far as being to change her name to a more Afrocentric name.
Yes. Well, I mean, I understand the need to change your name.
I don't think that's why she did it.
Because it's stopping you from being able to even get an opportunity for a job interview.
Yeah.
But you should have changed it to, like, Janet.
Right. So this is what I wrote. I said for a half white person, it's hard to take her seriously. Also, black people have had a terrible struggle. A white woman taking on that struggle is offensive.
It really is. You never, like...
You can't relate. You can empathize.
Absolutely. But one of the big things they touched on in this is like the epitome of white privilege.
Yes. Oh my God. I was so happy that someone said it.
Because white people can darken their skin and can act like another race. But people of color don't have that opportunity. We can't just change how we look. Yeah. We can't just change... You're
dehumanizing them.
Exactly. We're not just something... We're not a costume you can put on. We're not something that you can just... Oh, I feel like being a today, and then tomorrow I'm going to be white again.
Right. Like that's... You can't...
That's why I don't like Trisha Paytas. Total side note.
I don't like her either.
Did you hear about her coming out as trans?
No.
She came out as a trans man, and then she did another interview saying, "Yeah, I don't really this, I don't really that." Like it's all for views.
I just don't care.
It's disgusting.
I find her really annoying.
I'm so sorry. Totally
It's totally related.
But
so when I had that thought, my next thought was like, I guess I'm transracial. I was raised, I'm half white, half Hispanic, but I was also raised by a black man and his black family. So I did have like my Puerto Rican values at home, but I had a very Southern black exposure as well. So that's very different for me because I am not black.
Yeah.
And so also growing up, my mom would tell me stories about the racism that she experienced. And they're terrible, harrowing things to hear. And they make me sad and they make me angry. But I'll never understand what it was like for my mom to see her friend beat to death by chains and dragged down the stairs on the subway station because she was white, hanging out with like Hispanic girls back when racial gangs were a real problem in New York. You know what I mean? So like that happened in front of my mom, and she never saw her friend again after that. Like we've talked about it before. I'm like, why didn't you ever like try and find out where she was? She was like, you just didn't do that. She was like, they would have come after me. And she was like, they almost said, because it was her, and my mom is darker. It was her, a black girl. She was African, and her white friend. And they were all going home on the train. And this group of black girls came up and beat her with chains and dragged her down the stairs. And like my mom and her black friend were frozen. And someone said something like, oh, get her too, talking about my mom. And they're like, no, she's Latina. It's cool.
Shit.
And so, like, that kind... Like, I will never understand that. I can understand it, but I'll never experience it.
Yeah, you'll never be able... That's not part of your plight. That's
and I can have empathy for my mom, and any race has been persecuted. Like, this is a white girl that got, beat the shit for being white. That's wrong, too.
Yeah.
So, like, that was a moment for me. And then also my dad told me stories about, like, how they would have to walk so far home from school, Columbus High, because he went before it was a... But, like, the white kids that went to school would throw rocks at them and say the N-word as loud as they could. Or, like, stand in the back of their trucks while a buddy drove with a bat and tried to, like, hit them.
Jesus.
And I'll never experience that fear. Never. But, like, that's my dad. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, it's okay to try to relate to people's struggles, but taking them on as though they are your own.
And that you've experienced
is so fucking disrespectful.
Yeah, because it kind of... It tokenizes it.
Yes, that's the right word. Or it's like these women that come out, they're like, oh, this guy touched my shoulder and I felt uncomfortable. Sweetie, I understand you felt uncomfortable, but like we're talking about women who were raped for jobs.
Yeah.
Like this did not ruin your life. I need you to focus on that, And if it's just a shoulder touch, then say, don't fucking touch me.
Yeah.
We're talking about women who were raped. It takes away from the real struggle and the real issues in the world. And it's not something to be tokenized. That's the perfect word for all of this.
Yeah.
And that's Rachel's problem.
Absolutely. And just the fact that, did we want to touch on her mental health?
Yeah, at the end. Because that's when I felt like it really was highlighted. The next thing I wanted to talk about was she talks about how she never felt white. Which, okay, I can relate to that.
Uh-huh.
I don't feel white and I am white. I'm half white. I don't feel white. But then she talks about how she never felt white, and then she got custody of her younger brother. And then she talked about that whole family thing, like how they were being beaten, and they didn't really allow them to be black, and they did, like, it was this weird, like, existential kind of, like, identity crisis for all of the kids in the family.
It was
except
fucked
the
up,
older
the
two white male brothers. Except for those two.
Yeah.
They're fine. But it was a really messed up situation.
Well, I mean, are they fine? One of them was molesting.
They're doing great. He didn't go to prison.
Ugh.
They're doing fine. White males failing upwards.
I will say that's part that really made me upset, and it's kind of sad that this happened to her.
Because it was about the lawsuit.
It was about the lawsuit. This came out because they were trying to delegitimize Rachel and her testimony because he also molested her.
And they hired a private investigator who was asking around at the local news, and then that's when the news caught wind, and then this is when everything imploded. But her dad clearly was physically and verbally abusive. The sisters showed scars of what they would get, bamboo sticks they would get whipped with, and they they didn't accept their African culture. They were really oppressive and religious, and that is a traumatic household for anybody to grow up in. I am not surprised that she has this disassociative problem.
Yeah, she's ashamed of being white because of how her family treated the black people.
I get it. White guilt is an issue. But
she just took white guilt to the next level.
Yeah, I could never do that. But she does say, so this I thought was interesting, and tell me if I'm wrong, because I'm not a gay man. I can only go off of other people's experiences. But when she talks about I never felt white, and when I got custody of my son, other people started identifying me as biracial because of my son. And then at a certain point, I started identifying as a black woman. And she's that felt freeing, and it felt like I was taking steps. And I was that reminds me of a gay person coming out of the closet.
I don't know. For me, not at least that's not my experience. At least,
right?
I knew I was gay since I was 4.
Well, she knew. She didn't know, but she felt like she wasn't white.
It sounds like she kind of just fell into it, and people were well, people are kind of assuming it, and I'd rather be black than white anyway.
Okay, so then maybe it was the way she talked about it. It was just freeing to be able to do it. I think.
Yeah, maybe, or maybe just to feel like she's somebody else and not this white devil that.
Yeah, she's not internalizing that part of her that she feels like she.
Maybe this is in a sense of an internalized racism, but not racism in the sense because you can't be racist as a white person, but internalized self-hatred because
I think
she hates being white so much that she does everything she can to try and.
Daniel said, "Oh my God, is she bald?" I said, "No, baby, she has fine white people hair, and she's got braids in all the time. That shit pulls your hair out by the root. It's that's why she's bald.
Yeah,
she has nothing left. It's insane.
Your hair's not designed for that, sweetie."
So now we're talking about racial appropriation, and now we're talking about appropriating persecution, which I think is a whole nother level of just white privilege.
Absolutely, because you've never faced the things that black women face,
and you can't, and you won't.
Yeah, and you never will. You were never forced to grow up in the same way that young black girls are forced to grow up at a very young age.
Yeah.
You don't deal with the things. You will never deal with the things. From what I recall, she taught a class on what it was like growing up as a black woman in America. I was how fucking dare you?
Yeah, that's really bad.
How dare you? You will never know.
And then someone was she always tried to one-up people for the persecution. I was that's really interesting. That makes sense.
Yeah, she wants to be the victim.
Yeah, and then I don't know that she wants to be the victim. I feel it legitimizes her as a black woman, though. So I think that's different than wanting to be a victim.
Maybe, but
being a victim all the time.
Perhaps I can see that
because you have to show people that you've struggled too. Because that's the big thing with black people, especially black women and black men, their struggle. So if you don't have those experiences, then your story's not believable. So now you have to have these experiences. And it's one thing to lie about it.
And you don't have the melanin backing you up either.
Yeah, you have no thing. I thought the dad thing was. Anybody can be a father, not everyone's dad. I'm well,
that's true.
I kind of agree with you there. I get it. I thought the story about her family was really, really terrible. This was the part in the documentary that they really talked about her childhood and growing up and her parents. And I wrote down, I said, I always thought her parents' interviews were the weirdest thing ever. And I couldn't figure it out. Why would they want to be on camera? And then I saw this and I was that makes sense. Because I will feel things and I'll be that's weird. I can't place that. What's going on? I don't know. It's cloudy. And then I have a moment of clarity and I understand what's going on. But I had a moment of clarity where I was oh my God, you fucking assholes. You should have just kept your mouth shut. Realized, well, no, because she still would have been I don't know, whatever. But you're trying to delegitimize your daughter who actually is doing some good in the world and clearly has some mental health issues.
Yeah.
That you caused as parents. But you're trying to undermine her by blowing up her whole life and your son's life, the one that you adopted, and your grandchild's life.
Just to protect your disgusting oldest
son who molested all of his siblings. He did not show racism there. He went after Rachel and her sister.
Yeah.
I felt terrible for her sister.
I know that hits very close.
And it's really hard to dislike Rachel because her family clearly supports her.
Yeah.
Except for the two brothers and the parents, but like, fuck them.
I mean, she could have handled things better.
Definitely.
She could have not pretended to be a black woman.
Sure, yes, or not. Or
at least go for biracial, girl. At least biracial.
Well, but benefiting from it also.
Yeah.
Like, you can't take those scholarships.
But also, you're taking a black woman's job or a black person's job by being the head of the NAACP.
Because we have, we have to fill racial quotas, which is racist in and of itself. But she's basically taking those spots for them. What is it called? Affirmative action.
I'm here for affirmative action. It's necessary.
It shouldn't be, though.
It shouldn't be something that we have to have, but it's a necessity in our society.
I think then it needs to be like 50-50 and not like a certain percentage needs to be this. Like, I don't like that. She said something like, because I love my sons, there's a deep drive to protect them. And I was like, oh.
She's a mom.
Well, but, like, that was so deep to me because it was like, there probably were racist comments thrown toward her, like, sons. I imagine that there had to have been.
They did get shit. Like, the son was talking about how he doesn't have close friends.
But no. I mean, before all of this came out, like, I know that there were issues. And the son admits that. The youngest one does. And I thought she was trying to protect them and be so loud about her protection that she created some of the racial attacks on herself.
I believe it.
That was what I took from that, because it was in context of all of that. Because then her younger son goes on to say that, and he was pretty honest. He was like, I don't know that all of the racial attacks that happened were real, but the ones that were real affected me.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that poor baby. He didn't want to get out of bed when she got back from that interview.
I know. I felt so bad for them.
And her kids don't like it when she goes on TV, but she keeps doing it, and they keep supporting her, but they don't like it. And, like, he doesn't want to get out of bed. He doesn't want to go to school. He's getting so much shit. Like, his mom gets shit when he goes in and get a fucking haircut.
Yeah.
Oh, God, it was terrible.
And then...
Go ahead.
She was, like, trying just to push that book, and nobody bought the book.
That broke my heart.
Did it?
It broke my... Yes, it did. I think someone took advantage of that situation. I think her book guy took advantage of it. I do. No, I do. Any other agent would have been like, oh, the top 30 don't want to work with you. Like, let's die down. Let's wait till later. And he was like, no, we're doing it. And I'm excited. And I'm almost ready to light my cigar. And then she sold 596 copies.
But she got money from that.
Yeah,
They gave her money to write the book.
Yeah, and she needed it.
And she produced the book.
And she needed it.
Although...
Yeah, the 30,000 in, like, the state fraud or whatever.
Yeah. Is she in jail for that?
I don't know, but that 30,000 was from the book deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, because she was lying to get, like, welfare and stuff.
Welfare, yeah.
So, like, welfare fraud, she got arrested.
She got arrested for welfare fraud, but
they don't cover that. I think that happened after the documentary.
Yes, but the 30,000 that she got from her book deal, she didn't claim that
on her taxes.
Right, and that's how she got. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So the birth certificate. This is when she had the baby. This is a powerful moment for me.
I was uncomfortable.
She was like, "I won't allow my baby to be whitewashed." Like, that's what she said. And then she was like,
"But aren't both of her parents white, or the baby's parents white? Wasn't that man holding the baby the dad?"
I don't think he was in the documentary. They blurred out his pictures.
Oh.
So we've never seen the dad. I don't know. She said, I won't allow my baby to be whitewashed. And she's like, I feel like I have to be true to myself. She still identifies as black. And she was like, here's the kicker, though, which again, profound statements that come out of her mouth. She was like, if I mark black, I can get her, it's a felony.
Yeah.
She said, if I mark white, I'm not really honoring myself, and then I can go into another state and all of this is irrelevant. And I was like, because there's only one race.
Yeah. And
it's the human race, and your ethnicity shouldn't even be on a form. Not on a form, not... Like, the parent should be like, yeah, this is our ethnicity if they want to. But, like, you have to mark that stuff off. And when I had to mark my kids off, like, I always mark white and Hispanic. But my kids are more Hispanic than I am.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought that was a really profound statement. Because, again, there's one race, guys, the human race. We're all the same. We're Homo sapiens.
Yeah, I mean, I get the point of documenting one's ethnicity, though, on your birth certificate. Like, so they can say, oh, yeah, well,
But
this is clearly not.
But you don't have the option to not do it.
No, because it's a legal document. You have to.
But why? But why does it matter? Why does race matter on a legal document? I'm talking about ethnicity, because I don't think your race should be on a legal document. I don't think that matters.
I mean, like you said, human race, but in terms of ethnicity, like,
if the parent chooses to share that with the child with experiences or even through storytelling, fine. But why does it matter on a legal document? Why does the census?
Yeah.
Let's just count human race.
That, but
and if you need to break down social
demographics matter. Okay,
then the social construct of like below poverty and poverty level, like fine, then ask me what my income is. I personally don't see the point.
Does
it matter?
Yeah, I mean, demographics do matter to help you understand what kind of people are in your area, so you can determine what needs are of that area.
Wouldn't that be more based on income?
Potentially so, but also there's certain things that are specific to certain ethnicities that only they face or they deal with because of certain parts of their culture. I mean, it's not...
Okay, so what? I need more Hispanic stores? Let the Hispanic people get involved in that. You need Little Asia? Great. Let the Asians fund that. Like, that's not really... The only time that would be beneficial is the person who's hired to bring new jobs or, like, new stores to your area.
But understanding somebody's culture, at least from a business standpoint, understanding somebody's culture.
Yeah, but I'm talking about a birth certificate.
Well, I mean, that information is reported. People take that information from the census and plan accordingly for their businesses, and that affects the economy of a place.
I think it would alleviate more problems than it solves.
I don't.
Why?
Because, I mean, not including that's not going to allow you to be represented in your area.
I'm represented as a human race.
Well, yeah, but at the same time... saying I'm human is different than saying I'm Latino. Like, being Latino is part of your identity.
Then it should be my choice to do it or not do it. It shouldn't be mandatory.
In an ideal world, yes, but it's not.
I don't like it. And then people say, oh, well, we need it for marketing. It's like, do you? Because your product should stand alone and marketing is a little bit manipulative. Like, I have problems
marketing
with
is manipulative, but racially targeted marketing is effective. Especially if your product...
But who is it effective for?
It's effective in terms of selling the product.
Right, but not effective for the consumer.
I mean, it can. It can be.
But it's mostly, like, business driven. It's not
a lot of it is. But, I mean, that affects our economy.
But that sounds icky to me. I do believe that your product should stand alone.
It's just we're in late stage capitalism, girl, so it's part of our lives.
But I think this is part of the problem, and that's why I bring it up. I think it's a fair point.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Okay, so we already talked about the panel. Again, the 20 years from now, I'd like to be able to identify how we want to identify, but I was like, yeah, but, like, not lie about it. And so, let's see. I wrote, like, this is where I got, like, it was wrapping up, and I was, like, having all of my moments of seeing things. I was like, she didn't really take a break from social media. Daniel said the thing, he's like, why is she still posting? And when they asked her about it, she's like, it's the only thing I have control over. And I'm like, you have absolutely no control over it. Yeah. And then the person that was like, she stepped into being a persecuted human. I can't step out of it. And I wish I could, sis. And I was like, snap, snap, snap.
Well, now she's being persecuted and she's getting what she wanted. Yeah. But for not what she wanted.
And guess what? She can't handle it.
She can't.
She can't handle it. And she doesn't handle it as well as the many people who have been persecuted.
Yeah.
Who get up every day and still work their 3 jobs and try to bring home. Yeah, like, she's not handling it well. Yeah. She lied. I don't know. Anyway, so this is my final thoughts. I mean, I already read this tomorrow, but I'm going to read it for you guys. I said, this is a mental health issue. Being white, she associated with being an 18-year-old Montana white girl wearing Amish dresses, which is her direct quote from the show. I wrote, fuck her parents. I said she bonded to her siblings being oppressed, and that is how she disassociated from the world. She always talks about how, like, her imagination was heavy, and she would dream about, like, being kidnapped from Africa. And I think she was trying so hard to relate to anything around her. And I think the siblings were so different from her that she immediately, like, bonded to that. And she said she felt like a bridge, and that was her excuse to check out books about other cultures and help her African sisters and brothers, like, feel like they had a place in their family. And I said her parents were so oppressive that now the world pushing back against what she thinks. And I went through this with my childhood. Like, the second anyone disagrees with you, you're like, no, whatever, I'm gonna fucking do it anyway. Because, like, you lived oppressed for so long that you can't tell the difference between, like, what might actually be beneficial and what is just an authority problem.
Yeah.
So that was my final thoughts on it.
No, I agree. That's pretty much what I wrote. I just wrote she hated who she was growing up so much that she uses Black identity to escape her past because she doesn't want to face what what that is, and by being something she's not, she feels like she has more control of her life.
Yeah. And not having control over your life is, for someone who, like her, who's probably super artistic and idealistic, like, that can really, like, fuck with your identity. And I can relate to that because I have the same kind of personality. And I did fucked up things too when I was coming out of, like, being under my parents' oppressive house. Like, I have so much empathy for her, but, like, I also want to be like, hi, this is Stephanie, my therapist.
Yeah.
I'm going to pay for your sessions. You just need to sit down with her, like, I don't know, 5 hours a day for the next 3 weeks. Like, you've got some shit you got to work out.
Well, that's a big bill.
Well, listen.
well.
But she has but this...
Help Rachel be white again.
What she did was so wrong.
It really
she
is.
doesn't see it. There's so many mental health issues there, Mario.
Absolutely. No, she's
There's a disassociated
delusional.
property there. Yeah, and it's not like I'm being funny, like, oh, you're so delusional. Like, it's a real issue and you can see it if you watch it.
If you can't accept the truth when it's
in front of
yelling
you,
at you in your face constantly
crying,
from everywhere you go.
Women crying, like, how dare you take on my suffering, bitch? You don't know what suffering is.
You don't know what it's like to be
like,
me. Exactly.
And Mario and I were fighting, and he was like, you have no idea what you're talking about. You can't relate like I can relate. I would be like, shut up. Stop talking. This is somebody you care about. She cares about the Black community.
Absolutely.
I've done something wrong. I said something wrong. I'm feeling the wrong way. Shut the fuck up. Get your foot out of your mouth. Go stand in the corner with your nose touching the wall and evaluate what you've done.
Yeah.
It's the only way to grow and be a better person.
And she's not growing.
She's not growing. She's getting worse. She changed her name to something Africanized. Her son moved to Spain. And she's like, when you come back in December, he was like, if I come back.
I don't blame him.
And that broke her heart. As a mother, I would be devastated. But, like...
Can you blame him?
They posted about him being at Howard University, and he got attacked. Remember? They were like, throw that application in the trash.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, that poor child. That poor child.
She really did fuck up.
Family life, listen. That was my life, guys. That's what I deal with. This is the only reason why I do the podcast. It's 2 hours of not being a mom.
Oh, is this replacing your 2 days off a week?
Yeah, actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I'm glad. I'm glad to be a part of it.
Thank you.
But all in all, I thought it was a really good documentary.
It's a great documentary.
It is a little bit slow at some points. I will not deny.
No. Ooh.
There was like some parts, maybe because I've seen it already.
Maybe.
But I was just like, okay, yeah, we get it.
Not for me.
But her art, I can't get over her art. Every time I see her art, she's
incredible.
Super
Honey,
talented.
Sell some paintings if you need money.
Honestly, people would probably buy something from a controversial artist. Mapplethorpe was a very successful artist because he was so controversial.
Yes.
Girl, people will buy it.
I would buy it. I would buy it. I
don't have that kind of money, but
I mean,
I wouldn't say no if you gave me one.
You know what? If I had money, I would buy it because I feel like that's her real gift.
She's truly gifted with
that's her real gift, and she there's so much darkness
and like when I first saw it, part of me was like, oh, these are just put there, she didn't do it. But then they show her doing a self-portrait,
my God,
starting from nothing, sketching it out, going, and just it's beautiful. It's stunning.
She that is her gift. Should be.
But then also the emotion she's trying to capture, she perfectly captures.
She's an artist.
She's truly an artist.
And artists are often like misunderstood.
Definitely.
But she's going about it the wrong way. And maybe it's the time that we live in. You know, it is social media and staying relevant. People get a high from that. So maybe that's part of it too. But like, I feel like she should just be an artist and go with the type of talent she has and the way that she feels like she connects to other ethnic groups. She should be traveling to like every country in the world, immersing herself, really taking it on, and then producing art as part of it.
Yeah.
And
I play Rabbit, bitch.
Fully get behind that shit.
Yeah.
Because she is really the one with the puzzles. I was like, oh my God.
And like her explaining her process and trying to find things.
It's really beautiful art.
She's quite the artist. And I don't use the word artist lately.
Oh,
that's a coveted word, but she's definitely an artist. Like her art is beautiful.
Watch for just turn off the volume.
Yeah, turn off the volume. It's like halfway through. Skip to the art. It's stunning.
Yeah, and it's called The Rachel Divide, and the documentary is true to that name. It really does show both sides of like her not being wrong and then her being wrong and then affecting society but not affecting society enough and like her family struggles. It's actually really good.
Yeah, no,
it should be watched.
It's a very interesting portrait of a troubled person.
Yeah, it's really, really good. They did an amazing job.
Absolutely. But with that being said, let's wrap this up and go on to our now. Oh, do you have something else? Do you have something else?
I'm just excited. I saw the word Chelsea. And you guys know how I feel about Chelsea.
All right.
Instead I wrote Chelsea does racism, I should have wrote Mario and Jessica do Chelsea doing racism.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We can.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so we'll be right back. So welcome back.
Hi.
Hello. Sorry if I sound weird. I might have a cold. I don't know what I have.
You don't sound weird to me at all.
I feel like my voice is deeper than normal. I don't know. Maybe because I'm hearing myself differently because of my congestion.
Maybe that's
I'm not congested in my nose. I'm not congested in my throat, but it's like the back of my mouth.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Sounds
Am
like
I dying?
You're getting a cold.
I hope not. Oh my God.
Take some emergency. Take 2 ibuprofen and call me in the morning.
Yes, doctor.
I'm serious. I do that. If I feel that what you're talking about, I pop 2 emergency.
After I leave here, I was planning on going to Target to get some like antihistamines or something.
Get some emergency too. It's like an Alka-Seltzer. You just mix it in, drink it really quick, and then I take 2 ibuprofen to help with the inflammation. I usually feel better in the morning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I might need you to write me a prescription because I'll forget that.
Absolutely. No problem. I'm texting it to you right now.
She's not. Her phone's hand.
So we talked about a very specific form of racism, which is white privilege, but also it's a mental health issue for this particular person, which was Rachel Dolezal. I can't say her fucking name.
Well, that's not her name anymore, so
it's not. So
we talked about Rachel.
And so Mario and I watched something for Mario. Mario watched something for me. He watched Chelsea Handler. She has a special on Netflix. It's called Chelsea Does, and it's Chelsea Does marriage, the Silicon Valley, drugs, and racism. And she takes an episode, it's about an hour, and like breaks down this particular topic. So I was like, well, we'll go watch Chelsea Does Racism, and then we can talk about them together. So that's what we're doing now. It's called Chelsea Does Racism.
She said 3 times.
Yes, I did.
This last minute.
Fucking love her. I realized this week she's my personal hero. Like, she's probably the woman that, like, I don't know. She has such a big place in my heart and my soul.
Her fave.
So before we get into it, tell me what you thought about the documentary. Because, like, I wanted you to watch it from, like, an intellectual standpoint, too.
Okay, I thought it was an okay documentary. I liked some of the conversations that were started, but I felt like the documentary didn't have as much of a direction as it could have. Like, there were no solutions, no ideas. It was just... And I feel like maybe this is just a Chelsea Handler thing, because I feel like this is the same with the other documentary that we watched on racism.
It's a commentary more than a documentary.
Exactly. And I was going into it expecting the commentary, especially after having just watched Rachel.
Yeah.
And there wasn't that kind of direction. So, I mean, I liked it, though. Like, I liked a lot of the perspectives. I really loved that she brought so many people of color to the table.
But also, so I feel like Chelsea does things... I don't know what the right word is, but like subtly. So like, whereas like some of her conversations were very direct about racism.
And some were so shady and they didn't even catch it.
But that's the point.
I loved it. I was cackling.
It was full shade because no matter what they were going to say, she didn't fucking agree with them. And she just wanted them to look stupid on camera. So I feel like that's kind of how she does it, which is totally her MO.
I mean, it's an effective way of delegitimizing your competitor or your fellow debater to make them seem like they don't know what they're talking about, because really they don't.
Okay, so I took the lead on Rachel, so you take the lead on Chelsea.
Okay, so...
And I have my notes so I can follow along.
I just have to say, I love that Margaret Cho is here. Margaret Cho is one of my all-time favorite comedians. Are they really?
They're really good friends.
I love it. So Margaret Cho, honestly, she was one of the first, like, big, like, queer people...
Fucking love Margaret Cho.
I was exposed to. Margaret and Ellen, like, they were it.
Yes.
And Ellen, so, like, Margaret has done some super problematic shit, but at the same time... I love her.
What is the saying? Well-behaved women rarely make history.
That's true.
So I'm down with it.
That's very true. No, so she just...
I'm so excited to talk about this with you. Just like I have to pee. Okay,
do you need to?
No, I'm fine.
Can we pause?
No, it's fine. No.
Okay.
It's exciting.
She's going to wet the bed, y'all.
It's fine. I'll wash the sheets.
Oh my God. The stain.
It's fine. I have dark sheets.
But no, so throughout this documentary, she just interviewed different people and got their perspectives. I was cool, like
on racism,
especially. Like, she had a whole table of people of color and then some white guy who I don't know.
I've seen him in things. He's a comedian.
Maybe
he's also an actor.
I honestly only recognize Chelsea, Asif, and Margaret. I didn't know the other two.
So she was notorious for this during her Netflix reign. She would handpick her really good friends to sit down and have dinners and talk about a topic. Mm-hmm. And then the only one where it wasn't handpicked friends was the music episode, which was amazing. Jill Scott, Shania Twain, Wiz Khalifa, and the guy who was in Imagine Dragons, the lead singer. And so, like, she will do, for B-roll, she does these, because she doesn't want just, like, pretty B-roll. She wants, like, documentary B-roll.
But I think also it was a very good way to kind of open the documentary, because it's not just a white woman talking. Which I think when you're discussing race, it should never just be a white person talking.
Yeah.
And so it really, she had an Asian person, she had a Middle Eastern person, she had a black person, and she had the 2 white people. And she I guess she's kind of a minority in the sense that she's a Jew.
She's a Jew.
So
she's a Jewish Mormon.
She's a Mormon?
Her mom was Mormon.
Okay. I think you told me this.
Yeah.
You told me this. I'm sorry.
She's just fascinating.
She's had a life. And then she also kind of broke the tension of their initial conversation with her father. Yeah. Which I thought was pretty cool.
Seymour.
Oh gosh. And she's talking about his racism and his blatant racism. Yeah. And he wasn't ashamed of it or anything. No. And I was just like, I mean, we've heard about his father, but actually seeing him on tape.
Well,
and hearing him talk, she's like, okay, she wasn't lying.
She also talks about her older brother dying. Her dad was never the same after that. So I think her dad had like a moment where he was like, well, nothing fucking matters. I'm just going to barrel through life.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, that losing a child, I could never imagine. Mm-hmm. I could never imagine. But I did, then she moved on to Al Sharpton, and I thought that was
I loved that he was on it.
Yeah, he made some very good points, too. And, like, when he was talking about his last name and realizing what his last name was, I was like, oh.
And so I wrote that down. Do you remember that remind me of?
What?
Tiffany Haddish.
Yes, not knowing her history. Yeah. Exactly. But it's true. Black people don't know their history because they were loaded up on boats and brought over here. Mm-hmm. Everything was erased. Everything was lost to history. And there was an identity crisis in that regard. And rightfully, there is some anger there. Like, I'd be pissed, too, if I didn't know.
White people know their history.
Yeah.
Hispanics, for the most part, we know our history.
Yeah.
Really well.
Exactly. It's very lucky.
I couldn't imagine not knowing what I know about being Puerto Rican. Like, if I didn't have that, I don't know what that would do for me. Mm-hmm. And, like, you feel so connected to your Native American history now that you know what it is.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I want to learn more. I've read up on stuff.
Right, and so not even having that option.
No, exactly.
Like, that's... I don't even know what that would feel like. I cannot empathize because it blows my mind. Like,
and I also think, like, that's why... Those genetics tests are so fascinating to people of color, especially the black people. Like when I told Kati about it, she's like, "Oh my god, I have to do it. I want to know. I want to know." Because
Kati is our friend. She does Kati tour dates. Please check her out. We have her linked in our Instagram.
Absolutely. And Kati, like, I never made that connection until I watched this, and just like, and
you were like, "That's why."
That's it. That's it. Because she doesn't know that. She doesn't know her past in that regard.
Yeah.
And so, like, her wanting to do that, it's like, okay, well,
most black people in America, their history starts with, like, your slaves, like, your ancestors. And so the beginning of your family history has also been rewritten. It's been whitewashed. It's been downplayed. And all you have are the stories that's being told through the year. And it's a completely oppressive start to a made-up history. Mm-hmm. Because no one humanized them enough to even think about, maybe they want to know what tribe they came from.
Yeah.
Like that, I cannot imagine not knowing where I came from. Like, I really tried to put myself, I can't
imagine either. No, absolutely.
It's so terrifying to me. I think I would be
lost.
Yeah. So that was a big moment for me, too. Because I was like, oh my God, that's why Tiffany Haddish cried so hard. Like, I knew she was upset. I knew she was emotional.
Real quick, if you don't know what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
In Chelsea's second documentary on race.
Hello.
Privilege. It's me, Chelsea.
Yeah.
She has Tiffany Haddish, Kevin Hart, and her have a conversation. And Tiffany breaks down crying because she doesn't know her history. She doesn't know where she came from. And that's the big point of contention for her in her life and her identity and trying to...
And I think more so with a lot of black people.
Absolutely.
And then...
And I think that's also why they're so protective of their culture when white people appropriate it.
Agreed.
That's all they have.
Yeah.
That is all they have in terms of knowing who they are and their identity.
And then here white people come like me, want to wear a fucking African print
But 10 years ago,
pretty.
They were being persecuted for it. You have to take out your braids. You can't do this. You can't do that. And now, it's in vogue. So now you can come and take our culture.
Yeah.
They rightfully
Agreed.
have every right to be so possessive and
then again,
protective of their culture.
This goes back to the Rachel conversation. She's now being persecuted, can't handle it. Tiffany Haddish breaks down crying. This is clearly an issue for her. And at the end of it, she says, I'm going to write my own fucking history. And it's going to start with me. And that's generations of being persecuted and having to have resiliency just to make it through life.
Absolutely.
And Rachel can't even do that.
And they actually touch on that whole concept. I'm going to jump really quickly.
Yeah.
They go to... or they talk about the plantation and how, and she just finished talking to the people. She finished talking to people at the plantation, talking about, oh yeah, they were happy to do their job or whatever. And she brings that up to black people across the street, asking them about it. And like, yeah, well, you know, we had to make the best of a bad situation. And so if we seemed happy or if we seemed...
You're talking... Okay, yeah. So
you have to do what's best for you.
You're talking about the tailgating that was going on outside of the plantation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in regards to them having to make the best of a shitty situation just to get through it all, because sometimes that's all you can do if you want to survive. And so, yeah, you may perceive it as, oh, we were fine with being slaves or whatever, we chose to stay here, but that's not the fucking same thing. Yeah, Stockholm Syndrome is when she brought it up. She fucking brought it up, and the guy, oh my god, I'm talking about the guy who owns the plantation.
Yeah.
Every time she'd try to come at him with something, not like aggressively, but would bring up a valid point.
It out. Like, I want you to think about it and let's have a conversation.
He could not handle it. And it was so uncomfortable, but also like, dude, you fucking are making money off of this and off of their suffering. And you're not even, I don't know.
Well, and her talking head was really interesting when she left the plantation before she went to the tailgate. Because she asked him, she was like, so these are jobs held by like black people. So why are black people not like... Why are you not bringing them into this? And he was like, oh, well, we have one black worker.
Oh, Jamie Johnson or whatever.
And then the guy was like, no, we have the other one too. And she's like, I just saw 2 black workers in your front office. Like, he didn't even acknowledge.
Yeah.
It was crazy to me. And then when she goes to the tailgating outside and she's trying to press questions about Stockholm, they do the classic racist thing, which if you're doing this and you don't know if it's racist, it's racist. Don't tell me you have a friend that's black, or don't tell me there's a black woman who worships at your church
that so much
and likes to be called Big Mama. Oh, and she loves it and she embraces it, and she's like, this is where she fucking lives. She's not going to make waves. You people are assholes.
Yeah,
it's
and also,
really, really bad.
Yeah,
it was embarrassing.
It was so.
We live in the fucking South, and people are actually like this.
And watching them talking about, oh well, they didn't beat their slaves. That's just some mean people. Not all of them. We treat our slaves well.
It's just like they compared them to fucking a tractor.
I was so disgusted with this man. I wanted to spit in his face.
They're humans. They're not tractors.
So it's like, well, if you have a tractor, you're not just going to let it run into the ground. Fine. You're going to do maintenance and take care of it.
Let's talk about all the rape that happened. How you take care of your tractor then? Do you go around fucking the tractor? Absolutely not. And then
he thought his tractor was sexy.
Oh God, I hate music.
Oh, same girl. But I couldn't not.
There was the one scene when the girls were sitting pretty in their petticoats, and then like all the black people were like cooking and serving people, and I thought that was really great.
That was good imagery.
Like, way to go, guys! You guys hit the nail on the fucking head.
Absolutely, but also I don't know. I understand why they don't have black people reenacting this, because what black person would want to reenact the suffering of your ancestors for money? I feel like they'd probably be persecuted by their own.
I was so interested to see their response.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Their response. Like, I understood why.
Why are black people not working? We know why. But she wanted him
but
to
he didn't know what,
and he couldn't explain it. He's like, we don't really have any that are...
Because if he were to say something and say, oh, well, we can't put a black person in that situation, or they're not willing to, it acknowledges the fact that what y'all fucking did was wrong.
But he can't do it because he just said that, like, it really wasn't that bad.
Exactly. It's like, buddy.
What did he say? Oh, no, that's the museum. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But no, you're right. He was kind of like, oh well, they treated people that, like, it wasn't as dramatic as they made it in the movies and blah blah blah. I was like, it doesn't fucking matter. They were still slaves, and she brings it up to him. They were still there against their will.
Yeah.
And he the one who told the story about when the slaves were free, and he's like, well, why would I leave?
Yeah.
Or was that one of the tailgater? That was him. Why would I leave?
That was at the tailgate, but
that's when she brought up Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah.
Because it's a reality, and also
also I feel like he didn't really know what Stockholm Syndrome was.
Oh, he didn't, because he went dead quiet.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I've heard of it, and I was like, then you don't. Do you not don't know, or like you just don't know. But how did you feel about the woman? Because she made me more mad than anything.
The lady who was in the tailgate, the white lady,
and next to him,
and she's like, "Oh, you're being antagonistic," and blah blah blah,
and it's really hurting my feelings. And I'm like, yeah,
give me your white tears, girl. Come on, I'll sell them on eBay. What the fuck do you want?
Hurts. I was like, that's typical manipulative, like, rewriting bullshit. Like, you're having a difficult conversation, you know that what you're saying is offensive, and someone hurts your feelings about it, so you don't want to talk anymore. I was like, what about all the slaves?
Yeah, like
that cried. We hurt their feelings.
They didn't have the chance to just stop the conversation.
And I say we because I'm half white and I own that shit. My family came over and lived in North Carolina and South Carolina, and I'm sure they own slaves or sold slaves. I'm positive of it. Like, I cannot deny that shit.
Yeah.
There's no way you lived in the South for as long as my family has been here. Mm-hmm. My dad's family. I don't really claim them, but there's no way that they didn't at least interact with some part of that.
Absolutely.
And so I have to say we, because that's my culture too.
But
I mean, not now. I don't have.
Okay.
No. I was going to say, how'd you like Lonnie in it?
Oh, I love Lonnie.
I love Lonnie.
Because I remember Lonnie Love back when she was on, like, I Love the Whatevers. And
she used to be on Chelsea Lately. She was a panelist.
Oh, I never knew that.
Yeah.
But, this was before Chelsea Lately came out.
Yeah.
But because I remember when she was first starting, and she was on, like, Star Search or something, I think.
Yeah.
That's what I remember her from.
Yeah.
But Lonnie's super talented and super funny. And I loved that she brought a person of color along her journey. Mm-hmm. To experience it from somebody's perspective other than a white lady looking in. This is somebody who's like when they went to the African or the Egyptian guys, hookah bar and had the whole conversation and she.
I love that because
that was my favorite.
He was like, "I'm half black," and they were like, "Oh, really?" And he was like, "I'm Egyptian," and I was like, "Yeah, beautiful," because people fucking forget because we romanticize that culture too,
and they also whitewashed the fuck out of it with the movies in the 50s,
definitely,
60s.
Do you want to hear my plantation story?
Oh, sure.
Okay, it's really bad. I went to a wedding.
Oh, God.
Here.
They had a plantation wedding?
They had a plantation
I would not
wedding.
go. I could not go to a plantation wedding.
They dressed up in, like, old-timey.
No.
Yeah, so it was beautifully done. From an artistic standpoint, it was a beautiful wedding, very on theme. The clothes were definitely old-school Southern. But Daniel and I were probably...
The only people of color?
The only people of color, and Daniel's much darker than me. We were sitting down going to get our food. And up until that point, like, all of the workers were white, except for when the servers came out.
Were they all black?
Daniel looked at me and he went, "We can't stay long." They were all black.
No!
All of them.
This is like a this is like a fucking Paula Deen wedding.
And we were sitting at a table with a professor that we both, like, respect, and Daniel views him kind of like a father figure. He did help him through a lot of things when he was younger. He helped with his thesis a lot. And they both, like, he's just this really cool white guy. Like, he got up and left and moved to Argentina to do, like, he was like, "I don't want to be in America." And he, like, moved to Argentina. And then he assimilated. Like, he learned Spanish. He ate the food, like, everything.
Wow.
And so they looked at each other and they both made a comment. And then, like, we just laughed.
I would have left.
It was kind of, because I didn't realize it. Like, I was in my own bubble, like, "Oh, what a pretty wedding outside at night." And then all of a sudden I looked around and I was like, where did all these black people come from?
Yeah.
Why are they the only ones serving and cleaning up the tables? And then I just felt terrible that I had not paid attention until that moment. It was kind of embarrassing.
That's super fucking uncomfortable.
Yeah, super uncomfortable.
But I really did enjoy the little bits where they went around Los Angeles to meet the different people of different
And they
color.
went to all the different, like, pockets of
and they talked to, like, some with a Guatemalan and...
No, they weren't Guatemalan. They were... It's near Guatemala. The people who basically they're known for pupusas.
Regardless, two Latino women.
Yeah.
They're and they were talking about colorism a little bit, and I like that they highlighted the fact that colorism is a thing.
Yeah.
Especially, like, Latinas are very big on colorism too, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
the lighter you are, the more you're accepted.
Yeah, and I wish they would have touched on that a little bit more.
That's very true. That's been my experience.
Yeah.
I'm lighter, and sometimes people don't even know I'm Hispanic.
The same, like, because I'm so pale, like...
And you're tall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a tall Mexican, so I can pass. I don't know if I can pass because people are like, "Well, what are you?" Like they'll
they know that you're not white.
Yeah, they know I'm not white.
You could pass for white if you had to.
Maybe, I don't know, but like people like if they're not paying attention, they just assume. But then they look at me and then it happens all the time. I'll get like a double take, and they'll be like,
"Wait a minute."
And they'll be like, "What are you?"
I appreciate the comments that go, "Where is your family from?"
Yeah,
those people I'm down to talk to. But the ones that are like, "What are you?" Like, bitch, I'm a human.
Yeah, I hate that question
That's
so
such
much.
a rude. That's a racist question. Mm-hmm. What are you? Go fuck yourself.
But I like that she just went around and talked to people about that, and then they started talking about stereotypes with that table.
Yes, that's my next one. Okay, great.
I really enjoyed the stereotype conversation.
I wish they had done more at that table, like from the marketing perspective, or like people involved in like the language around stereotypes.
Yes,
because they had an African American representative, they had a Native Indian, Native American, they had
Asian. Was he?
He was Asian. I don't know if he was Japanese. I think he was Japanese. They had a Jew. I feel like a Jew was represented. She was the Jew, and then there was a Middle Eastern, and no. The lady was the Jewish. Yeah. She was the Jew. The lady was.
But,
and they kind of went in on her.
They did. Rightfully so, because I think she was...
Some of the things she's done are controversial.
Absolutely. Like he brought up the...
Chewy.
They brought up Chewy.
When you had an issue with Chewy.
I'm still very uncomfortable with Chewy, honestly.
Yeah.
But But, like, she also admitted the reason I employ people or Mexican people and whatever, because I don't want people to think I'm racist.
Yeah.
And so I bought her a car because I don't want to think I'm racist. Is that really the right reason, or do you genuinely want to help this person?
She's overcompensating. She has white guilt.
She is overcompensating the fuck out of it with white guilt. But I mean, right on. I'd be grateful if I got that iPad Pro. But
she also has, like, financial guilt, too, because she grew up really, really poor, and now she has all this money, and she remembers what it's like to have nothing or lives in a home that were disgusting, that she just gives shit away. A lot of it is guilt, and she recognizes that within herself.
No, and the conversation they had, though, because she was trying to say, well, or argue the part that not all stereotypes are bad.
Oh, yeah, and then he made the comment that if you take the bad, you have to take the good.
Exactly. So the problem with stereotypes is that if you don't have a choice, or is that you don't have a choice on if it's going to be a bad one or a positive one. If you accept the positive one, you have to accept the bad one. And that's so fucking true. She was trying to bring up, like, oh, Asians are smart, blacks are good at athletics, and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, that's great and all, but at the same time, you're dehumanizing them by just making a general statement about their race or their ethnicity as opposed to who they are as a person. And this is all about humanizing.
To me, that's my biggest thing in life right now.
Absolutely.
Can we talk about... I have moments where I see Barack Obama and I get I get roughly emotional.
Did you cry?
Every time.
I cried too. When she was giving the
Daniel
speech.
was sleeping, and then it never fails, because I've watched this one more than once. I love Chelsea Handler. And when he sings Amazing Grace.
Oh, God. And we're not even religious people. We're not religious.
But you see the guy behind him go, yes. And then they just stand up and sing with him. And his words were so powerful. I get reminded of who's in office instantly. No, I can't look at Obama without thinking about Trump. And I was sobbing. And Daniel comes out. And right at that point is all the B-roll of, like, the police crime. Everything they've ever been able to capture on social media. I mean, kids are getting shot, men are getting shot, people are getting, like, the B-roll is playing. I'm sobbing because, like, I just watched Rachel. I'm emotional. I'm watching this. Barack Obama makes me cry every fucking time I
wasn't expecting to cry.
And Daniel was like, what's wrong? And I was, Danny.
It's Barry.
And I was like, he said, oh my God, is that Barack Obama? And I was like, the greatest president we've ever had.
Yep.
And he was like, Mommy, what's happening on the TV? And I instantly had to be like, go to your room.
Yeah, because
he's too young to be exposed to that. My kids are they've never been exposed to racism.
But even that kind of racism where it's a racial attack.
His best friend is black. I feel like that would traumatize my son.
Yeah.
Thinking about his best friend Kamari, and that people treat them like that. Like my son is it. I'm not ready for them to know the not, and I don't know, that's not good either. Like, they have to know the ugly realities. But, like, it was this whole big moment where it's like, am I doing the right thing by shielding him? I'm crying because Barack Obama is no longer in office, and everything she's saying is hitting me all at once. I think about my dad. I think about my mom. And then I was like, maybe he should know about these things. But then Daniel and I really care about how we talk about Trump. Like, I had this breakdown at that moment. I had to pause it. I was like, just go to your room. We'll talk about it another time. Because I'm not ready for him to see the rampant police brutality. And guess what? He admires the police, and my dad is a police officer. And his great uncle is a police officer. I'm not ready to explain that to him. He's a black and white person.
Yeah.
It was just a whole moment for me.
Understandable. Now, I did want to go back a little bit because there's something that Al Sharpton said that I really liked.
Oh, I bet I wrote it down.
I don't know. So we need to not self-regulate and not live in a polarized colony.
Yeah.
Because that's so important. Because if you think
I wrote down what he said right before that about, like, you have to look in the mirror.
Yeah.
And deconstruct yourself. And I was like, oh my God, yeah.
I was like, because honestly, I've never been exposed to him too much. And the only thing I've ever heard about him was negative things because my father's a conservative.
Yeah.
And Al Sharpton's very liberal.
Yeah, but people said negative shit about Martin Luther King.
Yes.
Malcolm
and
X.
then, like, this was like, oh my God, that's so true. But that's the part that really stuck out to me. And that's when they started going around to the different self-segregations of little Ethiopia,
and then she talks
Koreatown.
about how she's self-segregated. Bel Air is still a heavily white Jewish community.
Absolutely.
And that's where she moved into. Can we talk really quickly about the Slave Relic Museum? I loved it.
Yeah.
Did you have a moment? Like, did you react to? I reacted heavily to the museum.
I didn't as much as you did, I don't think. I appreciated it, absolutely.
I mean, just seeing her wearing the gloves and feeling the weight of the shackles around the feet. And then he really broke it down because there's a lot
I found it disturbing.
It is disturbing, but there's a lot of subtleties about how this is all dehumanizing. And, like, we're not remembering these are people. And then he says, like cattle, but they're people. or their cargo that they would throw over the ships. But they're people, and I just like seeing all the terrible things. I don't know.
No, it's visual definitely
stuff
a good part.
Is really heavy.
I think
for
the
me.
reason I didn't shut down at that part, but I try.
It's easy to shut down.
I try not to go to museums like that because it's going to affect me.
I
so
go
deeply.
to museums like that to remind myself.
Okay, I remember. I don't need reminders.
I need reminders sometimes. I get in my own head.
But like that's like the Holocaust Museum or things like that.
Holocaust Museum fucked me up. I don't know why they let 5th graders go to that. What the fuck?
Girl.
Like why? Give me a card so I can figure out how this child suffered. Are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. No, I get it.
It's fucked.
It was a lot. It's
awful
to
that
see
it happened
her
to people
with white gloves on, holding the ankle weights. Like that was a moment for me.
No, absolutely. It's super heavy, and I just tried not to connect to it as emotionally because it's
give me all the emotions because sometimes I ignore.
Okay, Miss INTJ, I want to feel nothing.
I want to feel nothing, so I cannot be that.
I want to feel nothing but the suffering of the people of the past.
Absolutely, I think if I'm going to feel anything, that's the kind of shit I need to feel.
Yeah,
that's serving to other people, not to myself, and I need to remember to be like that more.
Definitely. No,
So Lamar Scott's family.
Oh my God.
How did you feel?
Heartbroken. And they actually show the video, and I've avoided that video.
Oh no.
And so
trigger warning. I'm so sorry.
Well, it's necessary, you know, it's heartbreaking.
I should have told you though. I should have prepared you.
Well, like you mentioned in the past that she talks to victims. I just didn't expect them to show the video of them dying.
That was a lot.
And I was just like, oh. And then
I thought she did that so well.
She was amazing in this part. The fact that when he laughed, she's like, that's a lot. That took a lot for you to know. He's like, that's the first time. It's like, she's really connecting with these people. Yeah. She genuinely cares.
Yeah.
I got teary at this part too. And then like, this is what led into Obama. And then when Obama came on, I just lost it.
Oh yeah. Obama just like, I can't breathe. When he's on a screen, I'm like, I think about him and how happy I was and how much I probably took for granted that we had such an amazing president that was a black man. But I immediately think about Trump and I'm like, God, we're such a fucked up nation right now.
We
and
really
all
are.
of that, like, because most of the time I ignore it. I'm like, nope, can't deal.
I try not to. It's hard.
But then
really
you see
hard.
Obama and he's singing Amazing Grace at this beautiful church. The full support, all races are there, just supporting what happened in the community that's broken. If you're dead inside if you don't cry. I'm sorry.
Well, but it's just him talking to his family, or her talking to his family, and their perspectives on everything that's happened, and how they never thought this would be them.
She's never even been to jail for any of her children. They never got in trouble.
Yeah,
he didn't know why he got pulled over. They don't know why he ran. And how unfair is it that they don't have any real answers?
Well, he got pulled over for a broken taillight.
But he didn't know that.
He didn't know that, absolutely. He just died in fear.
And we don't know why he ran either. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I thought that's one of my favorite parts.
It's one of the most poignant parts of the entire documentary.
That's the part that hits the nail on the head.
It starts showing all the different black people who've been murdered by the police.
It's so much. It's
Michael
so much
Brown
B-roll.
And Samir Rice and everything. It's just one after one,
and then
it cuts to Obama talking at the church,
and
you're like, oh my! It's beautiful. It's so beautifully done.
It was well done.
And I really feel like that had a message, and I like if she just did a documentary on this aspect, I think it would have been a lot more successful.
But she had a clear vision for what she was doing, and I'm okay with it because I like her vision. I relate to her vision and her thinking, and she is kind of an all over the place person. It's reflected in it, but she still at the end has like a powerful message overall. It's just she takes in information the way that she gave it to us.
Absolutely.
I really liked it.
I enjoyed it.
And the mom made me cry, and she was like, I just want him to repent for his sins. Like, that's all you want? Because I would want someone to shoot him in the back 8 times too. Yeah. Like if it was my kid.
I couldn't imagine.
And I worry about this. My son is not black. I'm not saying that, but there are a lot of cases where kids with autism interacting with authority figures like police, they've gotten shot, they've gotten jailed. It's not anywhere near as rampant or tragic or...
I mean, it's still tragic.
But it's not the same because you do get the feeling that the police violence against black people it does feel racist. Yeah. For kids with autism... I mean,
it's been proven to be racist in a lot of instances.
Definitely true. But with kids with autism, it's more like, oh, this kid's acting weird. Let me take him down. Autistic kids have been shot before from being pulled over because they don't know how to respond. They can't talk. They shut down. With my nephew who's black and autism, like Damaris and I talk about all the time, she's worried if he ever gets pulled over, what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. He's black and autistic. Like, it's this whole other thing. And so I think about Danny driving a lot and, like, what would happen. And if that happened to Danny, I'd want to fucking... I'd want to kill somebody. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I really, really would. I feel like he has to wear a bracelet that says, I have autism. Like, I don't know what the solution is for that.
The one exception to the vanity plate. No.
Yes. Oh, my God. The person driving is autistic. Like, I need that somewhere. And then there's, you know, people still aren't understanding about autism. They take it the wrong way. So... I don't know.
That's a whole different discussion.
That's the closest thing that I can even imagine relating to. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It just breaks my heart.
No, but she handled that part beautifully.
I thought she was so well done. No jokes. She was great.
No, and because like I with this documentary, there were some parts that I laughed out loud. Mm-hmm. Like when she was at the tailgate, and I was like, "Yeah, we have 2 female cops, and one of them's black."
Oh yeah,
and she just goes, like, "Bitch, so deadpan." Seems like a very progressive city. Yeah. And I died. And they're like, yeah, absolutely, nodding their head like, oh yeah, totally.
She's stroking their ego, and they have no idea how stupid they look.
They look,
and they already
so
signed those papers
stupid.
to me on camera. Can we talk about the guy, the non-white supremacist who is a white supremacist wants pockets of things?
Yes, anything, and then. So this man, she met him at like a diner or something, and they started talking about his view of what America should be, essentially.
And he says he's not a white supremacist, but Chelsea's like, yeah, but you kind of are.
You totally are. I mean, you're wanting to segregate everybody and have different little cultures, but also saying, oh, well, like white people from the South wouldn't be able to integrate with white people from the North or whatever because their culture's too different.
Yeah.
And they're just like, you're kind of defeating the whole purpose of America. America is about embracing everybody. We're a melting pot. Exactly. Yeah. We're everything. We're not, okay, this section is for this people. This section is for that people. Everybody from the whole world comes here, and it becomes a part of the culture.
Yeah.
And so he just disgusted me.
There was 2 comments he made that really stood out to me.
Is it about his daughter?
Yes.
Yes! Yes!
So she said, so if your daughter was sneaking out, because that happens, he clearly has a control issue.
Yes.
And she gets pregnant by a black man, you're going to have a half-black, like, grandbaby. I mean, what would happen then? He'd be like, as much as I love my daughter, and...
She wouldn't have a place in our community.
She wouldn't have a place in our community. And then he ended up with, I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting my grandchildren to look like me. And I cringe. And then she immediately was like, you know that's what Hitler wanted, right? And he was like, but not really.
But then he tried to like say, well, Hitler wasn't that. They just demonized Hitler.
They demonized Hitler. Like, we were coming off a war. And she was like, but wait, we have recorded speeches in his book. And like, it's all there. And he was like, yeah, but not really.
He just made my skin crawl.
He's made my skin crawl, yeah.
Oh.
If he ever runs for president, I'm not going to say it, but like, you look at my face, you know what I'm thinking, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like, it was disgusting. And like, he was just acting like, oh yeah, I'm just... What was his title? He's from like the Inclusion Center or something like that. And I was like, that's
ask me a year ago and I would know, but I have now filtered anything about that man out of my brain. I forgot he was in the documentary and I was like, oh fuck this asshole.
For real though. Like, he's delusional. He's fucking delusional. No, he's racist.
Yeah, he has a manifesto and guns hidden somewhere and he's gonna like blow up a church.
Oh God. God. Don't put that into the universe.
I'm sorry, I take it back. He's gonna blow up a tiny Lego church in his room.
Let's hope.
I'm so sorry. I do want to touch back on like the final B-roll of Al Sharpton, or the talking heads of Al Sharpton and Chelsea, where he says, we can't change people, but we can make laws that are fair and equal.
Yes.
And I was like, why is that not the tagline? Like, that should be the tagline. What is this?
A pencil, half of a pencil.
Yeah. But I was like, that's so true. It's completely unrealistic to think that we can change people's mindsets. There's so much going on in our world right now that's unthinkable. But we can make sure that the laws are fair across the state and then, like, hold people accountable for not following the laws.
Absolutely.
And I thought that is such, like, a enlightened perspective of what's going on. I love Al Sharpton. I grew up with my dad always talking about him. So I... like Al Sharpton. How'd you feel about the wall? Because she visits the wall.
Oh, Jerusalem.
No.
Not Jerusalem.
The Mexican border.
Oh, that.
How'd you feel about that?
That man made me so uncomfortable.
And then he starts talking to the Mexicans.
And it's like, I can talk to anybody. I'm a nice person. Blah, blah, blah.
He's like, but I only want to speak in English.
The common tongue and blah, 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 and we're in America.
Yeah, he like bipolared a lot.
Absolutely.
He went from one extreme to like the other.
Exactly. And that made me so uncomfortable. Like, this man's going to kill you, Chelsea. Like,
so
get
she
away.
actually visits the wall.
The Mexican border.
The Mexican border wall. And they actually like interact with some people on the other side of the Mexican border. And she made a comment like, so has anyone ever tried to like escape into Mexico illegally, and he stayed quiet for like 20 seconds. He's like, only criminals.
And he laughed about it.
Oh my God. Okay, dude. Like, relax. Okay.
You could tell he thought Mexicans were absolutely
just disgusting. Yeah. Like, he didn't even want to see them. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, like, she waved him, hola, and he's just like, ugh.
And then he got hip to what was going on, and then he talked to them a little bit, but then it was like, no big deal. How'd you feel about the Jerusalem Bethlehem wall? Not having a big hand in what's going on in that part of the world. Not really. I'm not Jewish, not Middle Eastern. I know of Middle Eastern things based on like what I read. I know all of it's not true. I don't have a problem with Islam mostly. I mean, I have a problem with all religions. So it's not just Islam.
Bad for the people of Palestine. Like,
definitely,
the Israeli people do some terrible things, and because they're our ally, they fail to cover it in our news. So it was a very interesting watch from my perspective. Because I mean, yeah, it is dividing them and everything, but also the part that really stood out to me of that whole segment was her talking with the former president.
Oh, wasn't he lovely?
He had some very good perspectives. I was like, oh, that's deep.
And then she made, some self-deprecating joke about how many books she's written, and he's like, well, maybe they're better in a different way. And I was like, you're just one enlightened motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like, I really liked him.
Their conversation.
We're trying to read his book, yeah.
Their conversation was very good. Like, he made some good points, and I appreciate them, but I also just felt a little bit like...
She should have touched on it more. It was a little out of left field.
It came out of nowhere in that documentary because, yes, Jewish people do face racism, and they face probably the worst instance of racism, potentially.
And they've been persecuted.
But I don't know if that's necessarily the conversation of America as much as...
It's not, but she did say in the beginning that she wanted to kind of evaluate racism all over the world, and I think she just went there because that's her roots. So it didn't really kind of pan out to what she was doing. It was interesting to watch, though, and I really did like the president. So, my last question to you.
Oh, gosh.
How'd you feel about the Native American reservation? Because I watched it before without really, before I met you.
In terms of her conversation with the guy at the table? Or...
No, on the reservation.
With the bird singer.
Yes, and I was like, I wonder how Mario... Because, I forgot about all these things.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a thing for Mario.
It was very cool. Like, that's not, where my family came from.
No, but it's a Native American
It's cool to have that kind of, that kind of perspective and that thought. Because it is very true. Like, Native people lived in America for 10,000 years before white people came over. Like,
and then what he said about the mentality was, like, how can we live with you? Like, it's an us mentality. And then they came and it was a me mentality.
Yeah.
And then they just got pushed into smaller and smaller pockets. And then he was like, we used to live off the land everywhere. And now where I live is covered in rocks. Like, how
you can't be prosper.
You can't do anything with that. And I thought, man.
He had such a beautiful outlook on life. So in terms of why he got married.
Was amazing.
Oh, it was so beautiful.
Yeah. It was really so beautiful.
Good, yeah. But I loved that there was so much Native representation. Because even in that round table discussion, there was a Native woman there.
Yeah.
And they were like... She's like, well, when's the last time you've been to a Native reservation? She's like, when I was at a casino.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, yeah, but that's a bad stereotype. Like, yeah, there's a lot of casinos, but also they're people. And they're not given the same opportunities, or they're not... It seems like they have special treatment in certain aspects, but it also limits them. They have huge issues with dropouts.
It's the same thing with black people, though. Like, there's so little jobs for, like, a black person to be, like, prosperous in the world. And, like, you have to be some kind of sports star or, like, a rapper. That's the stereotype. And for Native Americans, it's kind of the same thing.
Own a casino.
You get to own a casino, and that's how you make money. But now, guess what? You're in bed with, like, everything else that comes with being a casino.
Yeah.
And there is a drinking problem amongst Native Americans, like a casino, like, there's just all these different things. And I appreciate her being honest. She's like, the last time I went to a casino.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's the only time she really did it. And that sparked her to go visit the Campo Reservation. And how did you feel about the very well-educated Native American? I wish I could remember her name.
Which one?
The one that got, like, choked up talking about the youth.
Oh, and she had the beautiful earrings and necklace. The beautiful
earrings, and her hair was just shiny and gorgeous.
She was gorgeous.
She was stunning.
And she made a lot of good points. I mean, she was so passionate.
Yeah.
And you could really feel she meant what she was saying. But also, she was making some good points. It's not fair. Because she was the one who was talking about, like, the dropout rate. And there's not a lot for that going for them in terms of culturally. There's not representation for them other than stereotypes.
Yeah.
Like...
And then she got really emotional about the mascots.
Yes.
So 179
that's just in California.
In California still, and they have a lot of Indian reservations in that area, still have Native American themed mascots. And like, that's so hurtful. That's part of their culture.
Yeah. Well, like, that's a very, I don't want to say slippery slope because it's not.
I don't think it's slippery because I was thinking about it. If someone took one of our gods, like let's just say,
I agree with you on that regard,
one, right? They'd be like, "Oh, that's going to be our mascot from some all-girls school." I have a tattoo of a Taino goddess on my side, and like I'd be like, "The fuck do you know about it?"
I know the Seminole tribe in Florida fully embrace Florida State using them, and they take part in everything. But at the same time, not everybody wants that.
But, I mean, if you get permission, it's fine. But if you do it without permission or respect to the people, then it's not okay.
Yeah, but again, it's dehumanizing. Yeah. It's dehumanizing. So...
That's all I have that I wanted to talk to you about.
No, absolutely. I think that's all I have, too, actually.
Okay, great.
But overall, it was interesting. I wish it had a little bit more direction. Wasn't as all over the place. But she made a lot of good points.
Yeah.
And how she handled everything... with the shootings was
I think she
beautiful.
portrays it the way she takes in information.
Definitely.
And I appreciate that it felt like her perspective.
No, and I could definitely see her perspective on it.
I like that documentary a lot. Like I said, I've watched it more than once.
That was very good.
It should be a commentary, though, not a documentary.
I'd say that, absolutely. Or
because it's not really a documentary. It's a social commentary.
Absolutely. And it's just like an exploration of race.
And I think all of that in that series is the social commentary. Yeah, I would say that's true. Okay. Do you want to do your rate of lights?
Sure. My ray of light was, I got this amazing cup. My friend Val from the Cup Girl. I helped pick out the quote. She made me this really beautiful, was this like a Tervis? What it is?
It's the Walmart version of Tervis.
But it's like those big like tumblers.
It's a big tumbler.
And she puts does resin art on them, and it's so beautiful. It's Harry Potter themed. It has a holographic Deathly Hallows symbol with a glitter castle, and then the quote says, "A certain darkness is needed to see the stars," which is beautiful and very reminiscent to how I've been feeling lately and how I'm doing this. And so now like this new opportunity professionally is like seeing the stars finally, so it was just so perfect. And I immediately bawled once I read it and saw the cup and hugged her so hard. And she was like, "Oh my God, none of this, stop." Yeah,
Val's not an emotional person.
It was beautiful though. And I was so grateful and thankful.
She sent me the cup idea and it had a Snape quote on it. And I was like, "I love the cup. It's perfect. I love it for Mario. But you can't do Snape on there." And she was like, "Why?" And I said, "Because he's Ravenclaw. You can't put a Slytherin quote on there." And so I found the quote
she wanted was very beautiful, though.
It was, but this to me was more in theme with the cup. So he read it to you, but it's got like glitter stars and it's black and it looks like night and it's just beautifully done. So
we'll post a picture to the Instagram.
Yeah, I helped with the quote. She did all the hard work.
Absolutely,
and it's stunning. It's gorgeous.
This little star, she said, is named Valerie.
She named it Valerie. Yeah, she told me. She's like, "I got in the way of my writing, so it's a pain in the ass. So I'm going to name it Valerie." And I was
loved it.
Of course you would.
I will always remember it. It really made my day. And then I also got a really cute AirPods case.
It's the shape of an avocado.
It's it's like the size of a fucking avocado too. It's
so
huge.
Cute.
It's super cute. But that made my day.
Yeah.
But that's really all I have right now. How about you?
I have 3.
Okay.
I have been, I feel like I talk about her all the time, but guys, just bear with me. Chelsea Handler wrote a book.
The Chelsea Response Podcast.
It's called Life Will Be the Death of Me. I haven't read the book yet, but I am finding podcasts, and then I found out she did a podcast based on her book. And it talks about like her journeys through therapy, specifically dealing with the aftermath of Trump, where she felt like her life fell apart and having to like reconcile, no longer saying that's just my personality, I need to deal with it, to like, oh, well, maybe I do need to work on it. So she's been in intensive therapy. And what I didn't know is that she views therapy like I do. Is she wants scientific background to things and then she can work on everything else. And it's really made me evaluate like how hard I'm working in therapy and like the things that my therapist is recommending that I'm resistant to because I'm a control freak. And so, like, it's made me laugh. It's made me cry. It's been a really good soul searcher for me. It's her best book to date, just by hearing the response on the podcast. Like, people cry and talk about how different she is. So I'll be doing some life changes soon, and I have a whole plan that I'm going to take to Stephanie tomorrow and be like, I'm not doing enough. You have to push me harder because I'm not going to do it myself. And I need to start really doing some work. So it's kind of... scary for me.
Well, it's a big step to take.
But
I'm glad Chelsea got you to that point.
But it's like a life affirming kind of moment. Like you have moments in your life where you feel like you're turning points, and this is starting to feel like that.
That's great.
My other one is I got a new cup, and it's this really pretty glass tumbler skull.
Oh, is it holographic?
And it's holographic.
Where'd you find that?
I didn't find it. I won it because we did pumpkin bowling in my new job. And this is my mansplain cup.
Mansplain?
Because someone tried to mansplain to me how to pumpkin bowl. Really condescendingly, like I'm a woman.
Is it somebody on your team?
Yes.
Oh, God.
And I turned around, I said, don't you mansplain to me. And I got the highest score on the team, and I won, and this was the grand prize.
Yes!
And then 20 seconds after I got it, he was like, I'll give you all my candy if you give me your cup. And I said, this is my mansplain cup. I'm not giving it to you. So I got a new cup.
How do you take that?
He laughed a little bit, because he knew he was out of line.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. He took it really well, but he was just salty because he wanted the cup.
That's a cool cup.
It's a beautiful cup. I love it, and I will never give it to anybody. Isn't it cool?
It is.
I drank
really
wine
cool.
out of it last night.
Wine from a straw.
Wine from a straw because I'm classy. No ice cubes though.
Gorge.
And so my last one is we had a death in our family, and my sister-in-law flew here from Hawaii, so she wouldn't have to travel 24 hours to Puerto Rico to go to the funeral.
Right.
Her husband's mom passed away from cancer, and he's been having to deal with all of it. And so I got one night with both of my sister-in-laws, and we went to this new restaurant here. It's called Vertigo. It's Mexican fusion. The food is incredible. It's our next Finer Things. I've already decided.
For November?
It's really beautiful inside, and it's kitchen. I can't explain it. I just want you guys to go.
Okay.
But I had the best time with them, just trying new drinks and eating new food and laughing, and in the face of something that we were all really worried about because we were worried about my brother-in-law. Having a great moment, and Damaris was sitting across from me and Roxy when we finally got a table, and she just looked at us and she said, I'm so glad my brother's married you guys, because I don't know that I could have this relationship with anyone else. And I instantly got emotional, and I was like, oh my God, just stop talking, because I didn't want to cry. I had a little face on. But my sister-in-law is not emotional, and she's a tough girl. But for her to say something like that, as small as it sounds and not that sappy, I knew it took a lot for her to say that. So it made me.
That's beautiful.
And Roxy went, oh my God, are you crying? I was like, yes. Wipe a tear away. It made me feel good, and she didn't have to say it, but she did. So those are my ray of lights. And Vertigo was incredible food.
Oh, okay, cool.
I cannot wait to take
I'm
everybody.
excited to go.
It's so good. They have a really weird, eclectic menu.
Oh.
It's Mexican food with all different pockets from all over the world.
Oh.
Yeah.
That sounds interesting.
So they have Rangoon, but it's pork Rangoon. It's amazing. It's really good.
Wow.
So good. They have street corn. So good.
Actual elote, good?
It's
good
street
stuff?
corn, so it's their take on it, but it's amazing.
Does that the mayonnaise and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to try it. Oh my gosh.
It's really good. We'll go.
We need to.
But I need to go now, because my family apparently now needs to have me. Someone's knocking on the door right now.
But we'll talk to you next time. Thanks for joining us.
listening, you guys. Don't forget to follow us on our socials. Don't forget to rate, and review. If you watch the documentary, because I did post about it on Instagram, and you want to email us, I'm very passionate podcast@gmail.com.
Jasmine's supposed to email us.
Oh my God, Jasmine.
But she didn't get the chance to.
That's okay. I'm waiting. I'm so excited.
She said she will, though.
Okay. I'm glad. I can't wait to hear about it. Well, thanks for listening, guys. We love you. Sorry it's rushed. Bye.
Bye.